Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Otter, are you in the house? It is that time. Nikki. Hello, Nikki. I'll invite Nikki up. You like it?
Hold on, we're gonna...
Oh, no, Noodle's helping. Ah, yes, Noodle.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
What?
Wait.
Do you like the image?
Trying to turn on video.
Yep.
There we go. Hi!
Well, you're not Reverend Chaos. Great. You like the image?
Hi, Otter!
It's pretty good. That's hysterical, to be honest.
Right? This is fantastic.
Okay, I'm so new to TikTok Live. I had to get Noodle to come help me.
All good, all good. Well, I'm going to send out the notice on Discord.
All right, good.
Yes.
Everybody say thank you to Noodle. She's cooking dinner for us tonight.
Oh, that's very awesome.
And I got this one on here.
She did.
I made sure this one got here, and I will be making dinner for them. So.
I made sure I got here, but you made sure I got on here.
Yeah.
Nikki, Noodle. Hey,
You're
everybody.
welcome,
I don't know all of you, but I look forward to getting to know you. Go. Thank you for cooking dinner.
Wait. Poppy.
What? Yeah.
Poppy. Is Monkey going to get on her own account, or like...
She's getting on her own account. I'm just waiting. Hold on. That might be her. Hold on. Yep, here she comes.
I want to say hi.
Reverend Chaos versus Chaotic Queen.
Hi, Monkey.
Hey. You look like... Nikki, you look like you were having way too much fun with that when you were taking the picture.
I did. I thought it was hysterical.
I wish I had seen her when she was trying.
But you know what? I almost have an intimidating face there, and that's unusual for me.
That is unusual for you. In one of the other pictures you sent me, you were laughing.
I'm not capable of that.
All right.
All right. Intimidating, she says.
For some reason, it says low. It says Laura's signal's low, but I don't know why.
You gotta give it to me.
Is your phone connected to Wi-Fi, Laura?
Say bye to the fans.
Laura, is your phone connected to Wi-Fi?
All about the parents.
Probably it's not, but right now that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
If you want to do that real quick, you can. It'll work much better. It's showing your signal.
Hang on.
She'll be right back. She's got to connect to Wi-Fi. Hey, Maeve. Hey, Sorrels. Good to see you again, Sorrels.
Am I calling her Lolly here?
Laura or Monkey, whatever. That's one of her nicknames. Hey, Chelsea. Hey, guys. Hey, y'all know the drill. Get those likes up.
Okay.
Smash that like button. Da. Today's the big day.
Hello, fellow Laura.
Oh yeah, Maeve. Yeah, Maeve.
I'm being picked off. Bye, guys.
Go.
Ah!
Well, we'll give people a minute to get in here, and we'll go from there. But y'all get the likes up. Y'all don't have to like. There's some weird thing TikTok does. If the guests like it, it doesn't help. So, Kirby, Otter, will you do me a favor while you're otterating? Will you do me a favor? And if anybody comes in and asks any questions that if we're in the middle of something else, feel free to jot them down, and then you can come up and share them with me later. What up, Cypress? Welcome to Face the Chaos Divorce Edition. Y'all know the drill. Get the likes up. Share it. Even if you share it and just copy the link and don't actually share the link, it'll still show as a share. So y'all can do that. So we got Lisa. Hi, Lisa, and one of my subscribers. Chelsea's still a subscriber. Hey, show them. Hey, guys, show them. Hey, I'll take. You can ask spicy questions. We can decide whether we want to answer them or not.
Fair enough. We know boundaries.
We know boundaries. We know boundaries. What's up, Diver? Another subscriber. Yeah, y'all should show Laura and Nikki all the emojis or the emotes that I have for you subscribers. Yeah, go ahead and
Can
throw
you
that
tell
in
me what
there.
that even means?
What's
I thought
that?
I was just gonna say, what's an emote?
Tell me what that even means.
That.
I thought
Like,
it was just
no, I'm
me.
gonna
Look
ask.
in the
I have no
chat. Look in the
idea.
chat.
Oh,
What do you mean?
Look in
look
the
at the
chat.
look at him doing this next.
It's basically like emojis, but they're custom ones. Like I made
That's so
custom ones.
cool.
How did you do?
I can show you later.
Am I
Can
supposed
I
to
use?
do that?
No,
Can we use those outside of TikTok?
I can share them with you and you can use them outside, but these are specifically for subscribers. Hey, Janet. See, these are specifically for subscribers.
I'm not
Skills.
paying to hear you talk, honey.
You hear it enough.
So, like, I managed to get a job managing social media at my job. I'm not really sure why they gave it to me, but they did. So, am I supposed to make custom memes like
We,
this?
we, we can talk about it. I can help you with it if you need it. Hey, Annie. Yes, Annie, I'm on late. This is a special edition of my live
What's
so that I
up,
could
man?
have these
I don't
lovely
know.
women on. They look fierce, don't they? This is over here on this side. It's my ex-wife, Nikki, and this is my wife, Laura. So we are going to talk about divorce. So it is fun times.
That
Because
graphic is cracking me up right now.
isn't it
Yeah.
fantastic?
I
Isn't
think
it?
that's a Christmas card.
I think that's a
Can
Christmas
you
card.
do that, please? Like with his circle face here below. Laura, I
Yeah,
have to
screenshot that shit,
admit,
people.
like, I bow to you. You are the queen of making the fierce face. But I will
I,
say,
Now,
that's the best fierce face I've ever made in my
that
whole
is
life.
fair. That is fair. That is the best
I'm
first face
really
you've ever
bad
made.
at it.
Both of y'all really suck at like making faces for stuff. I'm just saying that's
the family knows my expression for everything is.
right.
I understand that. I empathize with
Okay,
you.
so I do have to let you two ladies know a few things because TikTok is weird.
Okay.
And since I'm not verified, there's certain words we have to be careful with. Instead of, things that have to do with this, you say unalive. Like serial unalivers.
I have
I
heard that
know
word.
that.
I'm just making sure.
I'm up to date on that one.
Oh, you're hip, are you?
So hip.
Oh my
I think we
gosh.
call it trendy now.
Oh, okay. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's a
I'm
vibe.
making up words.
Sorrels is here. Y'all remember Sorrels from this past weekend? Otter is here.
Hello.
What's
Um,
up?
Annie, bring your brother over. Let him watch too. Let's bring some people, and this is gonna be fun. We are going like, what more fun can you have than having
So
Reverend
tell me what I'm
Chaos and
supposed to
Chaotic
be
Queen?
doing. Am I supposed to be sharing? Am I supposed to
You
be?
can share. That's fine. But really, y'all are the guests. Oh, Annie, I don't want to hear it. I'm just kidding. Welcome. But yes, uh, is Moonchild here? I haven't seen Moonchild in a while. I will do guests after we talk a little bit. So we will do guests, ladies and gentlemen, in just a little bit. I am going to talk to these two lovely ladies, and then we will go from there. Chelsea, hold on to that question. You're welcome to ask that in a little bit. But I mean, y'all can ask questions in the chat. Also, in the meantime, while we get started here, y'all are welcome to also uh, y'all are welcome to also do your 3, 2, 1. Do y'all remember that in the chat? Type in the 3 things you're most thankful for today first. So do that. Rhett should be here. Summer should be here soon, I imagine. Also, after you type that, don't forget to keep liking. Y'all get the member things up here in the top corner done. Any challenges there? And we welcome any gifts, of course, and we thank you for them as well.
I need to know anything about the rose and the gift that's on the bottom of my screen right
Well, I'm
now.
guessing you haven't put money on your account or anything, so you would not be able to give any roses or gifts or anything else like that.
I haven't
So,
done that.
yes. So you will probably, hey, look, so y'all, I think Laura just got something.
Oh, wow! It's my first
It's your
time.
first gifts.
Yeah.
Ice cream, stretchy pants, and your kids. I like those
Oh,
three.
yes.
Hey, yeah, bring Friendly's Discord over, Cypress. Yeah, bring them. I mean, and if anybody lets Afro atheists and atheist cats and all them know as well, I know Quan and everybody else. I can't do the sharing at the moment because I got this going on. Your heartburn is not active. That's a good one. Almost done with pregnancy. Oh, congratulations! And your kiddos. Awesome. Kendra is very excited to hear the tea. That's nice to know. That's what we're here for, is all the tea. What's up, Gary? Another one of my subscribers. Hey, Cypress, I appreciate you sharing all that. All right, so we can go ahead and get started here in just a second. Sorrel's got pizza, my family, and my extended chaotic family. Yes, very much so. Some of the chaotic crew has had a chance to meet these two lovely ladies, and this image is definitely not a depiction of what our relationship actually is. They are both wonderful in the sense of coming on here and putting up with me in my new influencer life. So here we are. But welcome. So let's see. We give everybody just another minute. Okay, and now number 2 is the 2 things well, I guess it's the end of the day. You can say the 2 things you did for yourself today. This is a selfish one. 2 things you did for yourself today so that you would have a great day. Well, thank you, Cypress. I appreciate that. So put that in the comments as well. Look at that. Otter, they are amazing women. I'm still humbled by their love. Yes.
Aw, thank you, Otter.
All good, Gary. Just be careful while you're driving. And up there in Montana. Montana's beautiful. We did Glacier National Park. That's one of the places.
Natalie, I need your help.
Uh-oh. Your signal's just a little low. Oh, thank you for the heart, Paul.
Me?
No, Paul. Paul gave me a heart.
Get that away.
Noodle. Yeah, this is the Bash Chaos live, Adrian. That's what it is. That's what it is. Lolly's got worked
Wait,
out. Or a bomb meal by Chaotic Dad. Yes. Thank you very much.
It was a TikTok recipe. And
It was
so
a TikTok
good.
recipe. We did a TikTok recipe.
Yeah.
You good? You good over there, Noodle? We see you and hear you. Are you guys okay?
You can't.
We're good. I'm asking how to like people's comments when I like
You
them.
can't like.
Oh,
a
you can't
comment
like
on
comments.
TikTok.
You can't like
That's
comments.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. You ever talk about celebrating Yule?
What's
I
that
want
say?
to hang out with you. So I tried to like the one who's celebrating
So
Yule,
what you can do is
but I
just.
couldn't because TikTok is stupid.
So what you do, they want interaction, Nikki. So what you do is you click on the comment, and it'll give you a reply box, and you just reply in it, like give a little heart or thumbs up or something like that, or type in whatever.
I'm getting educated.
She's learning, guys. We'll break them in easy.
Also couldn't
Lotus
figure out.
Fairy.
Go away.
Lotus Fairy, what are you reading? What was the good book?
Oh, hey, Lotus Fairy. Yeah, what's your good book, Lotus Fairy? Oh, you got your first rose, Nikki.
Yay.
No, my mom is calling me names.
Go.
That's okay. We all call you names.
I got
That's
a
awesome.
rose.
And another rose for Lolly.
Aw.
Y'all should show the 2 of them some of the cool gifts. Drop me like a galaxy. They'll like that one.
What's a galaxy?
Kendra says, Nikki, you are a whole vibe. I love it.
I'm here for the vibing.
I got an ice cream cone. All right, so real quick. So we've got a good start here of people. I know it's late. There's a lot of other large creators on at this time, and so it is what it is. But this is a lot of as we did several weeks ago, a month ago. We try to face some. Oh, you got a Nikki. You got a witch cat. So I don't think it shows the animation when it goes to the guess. It's weird. I wish it
have
did.
no idea what a witch cat is.
Or you got a
But
black
I
cat.
love
You got a
it.
black cat. It's a Halloween black cat. Look there, and so did.
I'm
so
here
did
for
Laura.
it. Send me all the black cats.
you're even gonna use it.
Halloween is seriously my favorite holiday.
It's actually both of y'all's favorite holiday, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
love Halloween.
apparently I have a type.
What?
Yeah, so any of the gifts that have animations and you want to show animation, unfortunately you have to give it to me. Now they don't do lives much, but y'all are welcome to share gifts with them as well. Um,
I'm
and
learning tonight. Maybe I'll start doing lives now.
I've been trying to tell you should,
We,
but
Daniel and I were like, yeah, she'll get into this.
you'll get into it.
We
You'll
thought she
like
would
it.
get into
I mean,
this.
you already do a podcast.
Yeah, and you have really good content.
Yep, yeah, good contact. So Nikki is a regular guest on the Holy Smokes podcast. So um, real quick before we get started. Yes, good question, Cypress. Nikki is my ex-wife. Laura is my current wife.
Yeah, let's keep that straight.
I got a pop gun heart. I don't know if you saw that.
Let's.
Oh, you didn't see the little gun
There's
shoot
so
the
many
heart?
things to learn.
Yeah, there's a little gun that shot a heart. I liked it. We are almost to 10,000 likes. Every about 5 to 10,000, it kind of encourages more people to come in. So while we talk, you guys do keep chatting in the chat, engage there as well as get those likes
Lolly.
up. I appreciate it.
Am I
Thank you.
am I calling you Lolly or Laura?
You can call her Laura. It's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's just
I
her
said that and
username.
I realized I shouldn't have said that. I'm so
Oh,
bad. I bet we're thinking different things.
Yeah, it's fine.
it's
It's
a
fine.
it's a nickname from my childhood.
I love it.
Thanks.
It's cute.
Well, y'all don't sound very much like these two ladies I see up here. I'm just saying, these look vicious. You guys are like, this is sweet. We've
I
got
need
flowers
you
and
to be
stuff.
proud. I need somebody to be proud of the fierce look I made because that is not easy for me to
It
do.
is. We are very proud of the fierce look that you made. I am very proud of it. And actually,
I
this is
hope
the best acting that Laura's done as well.
right.
Ours is
She,
pretty intense.
the thing
Like I
is,
feel like
she
Laura's
used
gonna win from the picture.
well, she used to box, so
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Well,
totally beat me. 100%. I would not fight Laura. I would lay on the ground.
I would not fight her
And
either.
I
I don't
would
know.
bow to her dominance.
No, I saw you at the Pride Parade. I think I just have to like poke the right nerve, and I feel like you could hold your own.
Yes, she
That's
could.
fair enough. If you do poke me the right
Oh,
way,
thank you
there's
for
some
the
energy to
sunglasses. Thank you, thank you. Um,
Also, I think your nickname should be from that picture, Nikki, Pumpkin Spice. Like,
pumpkin
because you're
spice.
spicy and you're in orange. That's
And
just
you're
No,
basic. You're
I am
white.
and
not
it's
a
fall.
basic Becky. Do not put that on me.
I was not calling her
Do
basic and
not put
white.
basic Becky on me.
No, no.
Okay,
I'm
all
far
right.
more basic than you are, for
That's
sure.
probably true. That's probably
Yeah.
true. All right. Welcome, chaotic crew
Sure.
and family. These again, one more time. Welcome, Lulu, our local Siri voice. Solomon, good to see you. Um, these are two of the most important women in my life. We have Nikki, my ex-wife, Laura, my wife, um, and we wanted, just like I did like over a month ago or a month ago, give or take. I don't know, Cypress. Somebody get Rhett in summer. Um, I I started this thing called Face the Chaos, where we try to face tough topics and actually discuss them, go through them, and our experience with them, and then have guests on afterwards. In this case, we are going to have, right now, we're going to focus on Laura and Nikki. We're going to tell some of our story, and then from there, towards the end, thank you for sending the bat signal, Charles. Towards the end, we'll take some questions, and you can ask whatever question you want. I can tell you right now that we do know how to draw boundaries, and therefore, if it is a question we're uncomfortable with, we're simply going to just say, hey, we don't really want to talk about that. But if it's to embarrass me, they will probably answer the question. It's okay.
100%.
100%. And hi, Jane. Good to see you.
That's
Jane.
the reason
Hey,
I'm here.
Daniel,
I'm
before you get started, like, I can't tell if I'm speaking at the right volume. Like, am I too soft or too
What do y'all
loud?
think in the chat? She's using some wireless headphones that are not
what?
our best. We couldn't find the adapter for my other mic, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I don't have a mic, so I'm just not sure.
They can hear you. They
Kendra,
say you're
is it
good.
good?
Yep,
Okay,
you're
cool.
good.
Thank you guys.
Well, don't worry. The chat will let us know
Am
if
I
something
okay?
goes wrong. Yeah, you're fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chat will definitely let us know. Yes,
Okay.
Cypress, I will be accepting guests after the show. So, yes, by all means. All right, so let's get this party started. Again, oh, we forgot the last thing of the 3, 2, 1. So in the chat, the one thing that you can do for somebody today or tomorrow, since it's in the day for some people, one thing you can do for somebody to help them have a good day, or you did. You can do it past tense since it's at the end of the day. Yeah, yes, Kendra, you are obnoxiously communicative. We also all suffer from ADHD, and so I will probably be all over the place. It's fine. So you're not going to bully your housemate? That's okay. That works. um, nice. Hey, Rhett, I really appreciate it. Oh, there it is, dude. Rhett, that is awesome. Thank you. That's the galaxy. Did y'all see that? That's the galaxy.
It's a galaxy.
Did you see it? You didn't see it on the
What's a
screen?
galaxy? I
It's a
saw it.
gift.
I
It's
was
a
reading
galaxy.
comments and then like galaxy came up on my thing.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's a gift.
Be
It's a
out of
gift of
this
the gods.
world?
Yes, that's what it means. Oh, this is going to be a long live, isn't it?
Sorry.
It is one of the better gifts. So, Rhett, I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Thank you so much. It means a lot. So, all right, so let's get into it. Let's get talking about this thing. Like I said, this picture is not depicted of where we are in our journey now. And oh, there's a nut, Rhett.
Oh, that's
Look at
cool.
that. Ah, thank you, dude. I love those. Those are fantastic. Um, and you've
I
stunned
don't even know what
Nikki.
they mean, but
Um,
I know they're special.
they are special. Hey, Chaotic Sunshine. So Chaotic Sunshine. Whoa, that's a cool one.
What the hell is
Chaotic
that?
Sunshine is one of our regulars that sometimes will come up in the chat to talk, and then I have to mute her because she falls asleep in the chat, like in your guest box, like where you are there. Um,
I feel
and
her.
so, oh no, we love her. We love her to death. So hold on to your questions. Let's all right. Let's get started on this now that I've been babbling long enough. We're almost at 15,000 likes, but yes. So here we go, um, ladies and gentlemen. Nikki and I will start with that story first, real quick. I will tell a little bit, but I will also let Nikki tell most of the story. But just the basic part is that we were together for about 15 years, give or take. It kind of depends on how you measure it, right? Like, do you measure it when we were dating? Do you measure it not? But give or take about 15 years.
When
And
we
while
broke up, the side came.
we broke up well, you broke up with me, but that's another story. Um,
But
but
you went on vacation.
I did. Um, but anyway, so we were together for roughly about 15 years, and unfortunately, it was something that just didn't work out. And we got to the point where we decided that it was no longer healthy for us to be together. It was amicable, but it was hard. And yes, Otter, it was like Mortal Kombat at the beginning. Mortal Kombat. We had our struggles as much as we get along today. Towards the end there, we did at least come to the agreement that it just was no longer healthy. And it is tough to make that decision, but we did. And so from there, I'm giving just the basic overview. From there, it happened about the same time as we were starting to move to Atlanta. And Nikki was in Atlanta starting her new job. I'm not giving too many details about exactly where you work, but she started her new job. Floopity whoop, it was because of the Falcons. I don't know how you knew that. Uh, it is because I like the Falcons. Um, it is clear. See, problem solved. We can end the live now.
Someone said
Uh,
it was because of the dad joke.
Oh yeah, somebody did say it was because of the dad joke too. But so from there, while we were in Atlanta, or while she was in Atlanta, I stayed down to sell the house down in Macon, and during that time, both of us started dating at different points. I met this one here.
Mhm.
And towards the end of my tenure of working in Maconga, that's right, in Macon, Georgia. That's what
Wakanda.
Rebecca says in the chat. Maconga, Georgia. Yep, Maconga, Macon, Georgia. I met Laura, and uh, we hit it off. It wasn't supposed to be anything serious. We were just because she was going through a divorce herself, and so from there, I then briefly moved in with her here in Atlanta and just commuted to Maconga for a little while. That was a blast. And played the game of, is there a car on fire in McDonough today? And for the record, the answer to that is yes. There's always a car on fire in McDonough, and therefore traffic. So, always. We don't know why. There's always something like that. So, yes, it's kind of hard to know how to tell the story because there's so many different moving parts. So, let's stick real quick. Did you, Nikki, from your perspective, did you have any? How did you view things? How, like, because I know it was tough, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't want to, like, did I miss anything in the story?
Oh, I don't think. Well,
Or
it's
anything you
not
want
the
to
whole
add to it?
story, and everything is accurate. For whoever's asking, Maconga is Macon, Georgia, which is like the dead center of Georgia. So for those who are not Georgian, there you go. Um, I don't know that, depending on what we're talking about, I don't think you left anything out. Um,
Well, so what
I,
was? I mean, I have told some stories here and there, but I wanted to make sure that they got a chance to hear from you guys too. What was some of the hardest parts about that whole process at the beginning?
are you talking about like our divorce
Yes,
or forming a blended family?
the divorce part first, starting.
Okay. Wow. Um, so I remember that one of the reasons that you and I split is because I won't say reasons. That's not even, I'm not even willing to say that, but
One of the contributing factors.
our fighting was pretty high. We were
Yeah.
fighting a lot, and it was ugly. Like, if I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
wasn't. It was ugly, and I didn't want that in my life, and I don't think you wanted that in your life.
No.
And I remember after we had kind of said that we were done, and still we were trying to separate everything and figure everything out. I don't even know if like Laura was in your life at this moment or not. Like, the timeline gets hazy for me. But I remember you and I had a fight in the house in the apartment I was living in Atlanta one day. And my neighbor, who I love dearly, after you
Hmm.
left, she came over to me, and like, she was such a wonderful neighbor, and she wanted us to be okay. Like, both of those things were true.
Right. She was
But
great. Yeah.
that day, she heard us fighting. Like, she heard it. It was that loud. Like, there really are reasons that you and I split. She came to me and she said, Nikki, there's a reason you chose to end this. You don't have to stay in it.
Right.
And that was really profound for me. Like, it reminded me that the reason that you and I decided we weren't working was because there was so much fighting and animosity.
Hmm.
And we could not figure out how to move past that without splitting up. At least that's the way
Right.
that I remember it and experience it. Whenever I talk about why we
Right.
split up, it's always, this is my perspective. But I imagine you have different perspectives as well. But that's what I remember, and that was a really pivotal moment for me. She came and she said, "There's a reason you did what you did. You don't have to
Right.
stay in." And
Hmm.
that was super helpful to me.
Right.
I
Well,
called
and
her.
I,
She was from Ethiopia, and so she was my African mama, and she owned that, and she
she
lived
was
up to
great.
it.
I really like, yeah, your neighbors were
Yeah,
fantastic. I really like them. And obviously,
they
so
were
we
amazing.
we did spend time, like, one thing I've described is that we would oftentimes, most of the time, we would try to, when I came up, I would take over the apartment, you would go somewhere else. And that was for the kids, the purpose being to, so that they didn't feel like it was them that had to shuffle around, that it was their fault. We accepted that it was our fault. I think for me, I know that part of the, obviously, reason, again, contributing factors was more that we would have these roller coasters, right? We would have these really great times, and then there was things we couldn't get over, and we'd end up in a fight. We'd somehow figure that out, and it'd do the same thing. And Mama TT, yes, we did try couples counseling.
We did,
We do
we did
believe in
couple things.
therapy.
We read books.
Yep. We believe in therapy. We believe in the couples counseling. We believe in all that
Yes.
stuff, and we tried it very much. Uh, and I will, just for the other people in here, we prayed about it. Um, so, uh, reminder to folks, the mix that we have here is she is a reverend. That part of her name is a reverend. But it would just be, it's just funny to people here to hear that I prayed. But they do know my backstory. But after watching me with people on here, they do recognize that that's kind of odd. Uh, but yeah, it was that roller coaster for me. And there you go. You are, by the way, you are dubbed as a unicorn Christian, Nikki, by
Yes.
Otter. We have already determined that the crew has voted on it. You are unicorn.
Can I put in a request to instead be a narwhal Christian?
You want to be a narwhal Christian? I guess,
The
sure.
reason is narwhals are really rare, but they're
That's
also real.
that's
Unicorns
fair.
aren't
That's fair.
real.
Whoa, whoa,
Okay,
whoa.
all right.
That's
That's
the first
fair.
fight. No.
There we go.
They're very
No,
much
And
real.
no. Oh, here we go. It's going to be on now.
but I also know that Lauren loves unicorns, and
I
I
do.
love unicorns.
Gosh,
But
she's trying to
here's the
put
reason
division
I
already
ask
between us,
that.
Laura.
The reason I ask that is I want to manifest into the world that I am not fictional. There are other people like me.
Yeah.
There really are, and
Fair.
I can introduce you to them.
Ooh, that is not too bright.
Like I'm not fictional.
Right. Well, so
There
Nikki,
are
I don't know if you know Otter. Part of our Otter story, I don't know if you were in the room when we talked about it. Was that there was a period when he was part of the Chaotic Crew where he could not talk to Christians. Like everything triggered him, and he actually left the group for a little bit, and because he needed to protect himself. And since then, he has done a lot of healing, and that was the time when he and I broke up. Well, he didn't break up, but he just kind of was like, "Hey, I can't do this anymore," and stepped away. But he chose himself to step away to protect himself, and we messaged privately still, and I told him, "Hey, do what you need to do, take care of yourself," and we talked it through, and he eventually came back, and here he is, and now he's chosen to embrace those narwhalian and unicorn Christians.
if Otter wants me to be a unicorn, I'll be a unicorn. Otter gets what Otter wants.
I was
Period.
thinking the
That
same
is,
End of
thing with
story.
friends.
we were on a
We were
break.
on a
Okay.
break.
But yes, I will say, guys. So Sorrel. Oh, guys, I also point out, Sorrel. You said you're a PK. She's also a PK. So like, talk about the power couple in the Baptist Student Union, right? You got an MK and a PK together. Hey, our BSU minister did think extremely highly of the two of us getting together. We know this.
Yeah, he still talks to me about it, even though he knows we're divorced. When I go to his church,
Yeah,
he taught when if I bring one of our kids with us, he tells them, "I knew them when."
right, right. Back in the day. So, anyways, so yes, so the fighting. I think there was some resentment that built unintentionally. All
Yeah,
this just happened unintentionally. It just got to the point where we didn't feel like we could kind of get through it. Yes, sassy, ex-wife, current ex-wife. And
one.
so,
Can I add something to that?
sure,
Um, I was 21 years old when we got married.
right.
I was 5 days shy of 22. I didn't know who the hell I was.
Hmm.
And I don't think you knew exactly who you were either, but I won't put words in your mouth.
No, it's fair. That was somebody asked a good question. How? Let's see. So where was I in my deconstruction then? By that point, I was starting to deconstruct. I was That's part of that ish time. I talk about ish time where I still kind of overlapped and you didn't quite know where one started and the other began. So yes, that's that was my ish time during my deconstruction. Um, but starting to finally like probably move away at that point. So that's the general story. We did end up using a mediator. We did not have to go to court and pull hair and all that stuff.
Thank
Uh,
you for that, by the
what?
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, even that wasn't easy. I remember because we
No.
did the mediation and there was still just because of some of that residual resentment. I think there was still a lot of distrust. And so we figured
100%.
out the mediation, but it was not easy.
Wasn't
Um,
easy.
and
And
it
we learned
wasn't
things, I
perfect.
think, about each other in the process.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm grateful for you too, and doing that mediation because I think dragging it out in court and doing all that stuff, that would have just made it worse for the kids, honestly.
So much.
So yeah, so that's the general gist of where we got at. Laura, I did not meet her till after we were still doing our paperwork, Nikki and I.
Because we're procrastinators.
We were procrast. Well, I'll let Laura talk about hers. Uh, obviously, we do not have her husband here, and that's okay. Her ex-husband. Um, I will say this: he and I get along fine. We get along great. But I will let Laura tell her story some, so that y'all kind of have an idea where she comes from. Sassy, I was still kind of a Christian when we got divorced. That was kind of the ish phase of my deconstruction. So, Laura, would you like to tell us a little bit about yours? I know you can't go into super detail since, especially, he's not here.
Yeah.
It would not be fair or nice to do anything there. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I'll keep it brief for that reason. Um, like Nikki, got married at 21, and I had met my ex at 17. Um, was very headstrong at that age. Thought I knew who I was and what I needed, but also like Nikki had much to learn. Still am learning. Um, we I think our dynamic was different than Daniel's and Nikki's in that we had our fights. Every couple does, but we didn't get to that place where we were always fighting. Um, we certainly have had our share, but for us it was more. Um, there were some trust issues, and we had some patterns, but they were very long term, like 4 and 5 year long patterns of amazing times together where everything was wonderful, and then um, things would explode. My ex, he was a big dreamer. He had big dreams. Brilliant guy, a lot of great ideas, but I often had to be the responsible one and clean up the big messes. That cleanup period always sent our marriage into a tailspin. I did find myself resentful and not really happy in my life.
Right.
And then we'd get things back on track and we'd have several more years of bliss, which is why it took us a very long time, it took me a long time to realize we got through I think what was the third or fourth of those cycles in our marriage or in our relationship. We were together in a total about 19 years. I don't know how many years married, I guess. Actually, I do. 15, 16 of those married, I think.
Because now y'all met in high school, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We were married in 2000. I was just trying to, I don't know exactly when we divorced, what year. I'm just trying to do math, but it's not worth it. But um, it took me that long to see the full cycle. And we went through another cycle where, things were good. They busted. I had to clean it up. And at the end of that, I was just tired. I didn't want to do another round of that. And I didn't see it not happening. Um, so we separated, then tried it one more time. It was the second time that really I was like, okay, I need to be done with this. Um, Met Daniel. I don't even know the timeline exactly, but as he said, was
Uh,
certainly not
it's fine. It's
within.
just for the record, guys. I'm the one that remembers the anniversaries and stuff.
Yes, that's correct.
But it's fine.
Yes,
It's fine. It's cool. It's cool. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
yeah. I honestly am not entirely sure what our specific anniversary date is, but it's in September, mid-September. It doesn't matter, but I'm a little more big picture with things. But yeah, so my ex and I, for while my kids were still young, Daniel left out a little bit of detail with him moving in with me in Atlanta. So at the time, my ex and I still shared a home that we would rotate out of every other week because we didn't want the kids to have to move. And so they stayed, we moved. Daniel moved in on the weeks I wasn't there. So I'd be gone that week in the house with my kids. He would be in the house we were sharing with his kids. So we didn't cross paths in the beginning. That was very intentional. We weren't ready for that. Um, so on the weeks where neither of us had kids, we were living together at that time, and that happened fairly fast. But that wasn't the plan. Um, I think Nikki, I've heard Daniel tell me that you said he's kind of the marrying type, like he's meant to be a dad and a husband. He is 100% agree with that. Um, for me,
That's
honestly,
what
I
she
took
said to
him.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it didn't matter. We met online. It was meant to be just a friends with benefits sort of situation. And then I was like, oh, this is a really good guy, and it just kind of stuck. And now we describe ourselves as friends with benefits for life. That's what we are. Um, yeah. So anything else you think my ex and I still get along. Like Daniel said, he gets along just
Yeah.
fine. I still love him dearly. Would still do
I,
anything for him.
there was a period of time once we started blending where I did see your kid. Like I would go with you to his
Yep.
house, and so I
Yep.
would stay in her ex's house with her, with the kids. Um,
Mind you, my kids are also older than Daniel's and Nikki's.
yeah.
And so, like, I remember, I think we've been together for maybe a year and we knew we were fairly serious about each other. May have been longer, I don't remember. But I finally met Liam, and I think within a couple of weeks, like, he was saying, I love you. And that's the thing. He was young.
He was
He
very
was
young. Yeah.
really young. I mean, he was 6. And so we were exceptionally protective of he and Natalie Noodle because we knew they would cling to someone quickly, not because they don't have an amazing mother, they do, but just that's the nature of little kids. They fall in love with their teachers quickly, and people who love on them, they love them back very fast. And my kids were older, so I think it took them longer to warm up to Daniel. And so him being there, we were very open about the dynamics of that. And so we did that sooner with my kids. But yeah, every other week you were there in the house with me. And we didn't have your
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Uh, that was fun because I was thrust into somewhat raising teenagers when mine were still in elementary school, which was fine because Nikki knows the teenage age is actually an age I enjoy. Like I was pretty good at. Talk about youth groups and churches and stuff. That was my bread and butter. I remember Ethan, Laura's son, one of the big things, like he would test me to see if I was cool. And she had told him a story about when we were in the grocery store, just Laura and I. I was looking at my phone and she had picked up this head of cabbage or something and was going to just try to like get me with it from across the aisle and kind of tossed it and said and was like going to say think fast or whatever. Well, she tossed it and I just kind of reached up and caught it. And there was this random dude in the aisle that was just sitting there going, "Damn." So we told Ethan that story, and from that point on, he would just throw random shit at me. He's just like, "Think fast," and for a little bit I would catch it, but then he'd stop telling me think fast until after he'd thrown it. Now I still would catch some of it or knock it, whatever, but it was yeah, he'd be like, "Think fast." By that point, it's hit me. So it is hysterical. It was
Yeah, I know you're all like you probably have like a 99% catch rate.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But so okay. You ready for a slightly tough question, Nikki? Uh,
Absolutely,
during
I work for them.
during that time, during that time uh, of the divorce and me and us dating, did you find it hard to see me date? And if you'd like, I can answer that first. Would you like me to answer that
No,
first? Okay.
you know, okay, so the first memory that pops in my head is you and I had gone to see my therapist,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I had seen her about a month before. And at that point in time, we weren't definite. Like it was things are bad. We think this is where it's headed. So when
Right.
we came to her, she was kind of giving us room to explore staying together. But you and I at that point had decided
Yeah,
we're
I
done.
think yeah.
And so then she helped us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the conversation when we got home?
In the car, yeah, in the car. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes!
Yes, I remember
Both were like, so are you downloading Tinder tonight? Like we both were looking forward
Thank you, Rhett.
to dating. Whoever
Right.
sent that cool
That's
graphic,
that's
that's
Rhett.
awesome.
That's Otter's main squeeze.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Russ.
That's Otter's main squeeze. Good to see you, Rhett. And by the way, Lulu, I saw that you resubscribed. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hold on, wait. My daughter taught me
He
this.
wants Real Housewives. Who's asking for Real Housewives energy?
Thanks, Sorrels. Yeah, that's the
And so
thing.
I
Is
remember us
yeah.
like before we went back into the because this was
Well,
very, very early. Before we went back into the house where both of our children were,
yep.
we
No,
were like,
they were in the back seat.
no, they weren't. Tell me they
Yeah,
weren't.
they were because
Because
we whispered it. We whispered it.
no.
Yes, because they had their headphones on. They were in the back because you had the van, and so they were in the back. And you asked me about the Tinder.
Okay.
You asked me about the going online dating and stuff, and I was like, and I said, "Oh, thank God you asked first," because I was feeling weird about
Because I
like,
have zero filter. Like I really don't
right,
own a filter,
right,
which is like a very positive thing and a super negative thing sometimes. But I remember us having this conversation like we both had some excitement about dating.
Yep.
So your question about how did I feel about your dating, I felt real good until you told me you were moving in with somebody.
Well,
And then I went,
What?
because this is something we've actually never talked about in detail, this part of it.
because it got real. It got
Right.
really real. And then I went, there's going to be another person. At this point, it was like a woman around my children, and they're really young. And what do I
Right.
do with that? Like, there were so many things that felt like turmoil within me
Yeah.
when that happened. And for me at the time, it felt really fast. But like looking back, I don't feel the same way about it. So like I know
Right.
like in that moment it felt super fast, but as like we have worked on what we're doing, it all kind of makes sense. Like
Right.
right,
Right.
like
Well,
the
I'll admit,
okay.
like for me, it was tough. Even though I was getting some dates here and there, it felt empty a lot, and it I don't know why it still kind of was. It was hard at times.
Huh,
Uh,
I didn't know
I
that.
I also know that I got a ton of rejection simply because I was honest about myself. And this is the funny thing, because I did not, I could have easily just told people I was divorced
Right.
and been fine. They probably would have never guessed it. Like they probably wouldn't have thanked it. Thank you, Seth. They probably would have never thought twice about it, whatever. But that's not who I am. And so I would be honest with them because I wanted to be upfront. And even if it wasn't meant to be anything serious with anybody, I would tell them, yeah, I'm separated, but we have filed the paperwork or whatever. And I got a lot of, Nikki, in Macon, I found the end of Tinder. I
I
literally
remember you telling me.
found the end of Tinder. I swiped and it was like, we'll let you know when there's more humans in your vicinity within 2 hours or something. Like I was like, holy shit. So, yeah, uh, that was uh, that was a bit of a gut punch there when I'm like, well, I'm going to be lonely the rest of my life. And maybe that's why it hurt, because you did tell me. I remember one time when I was down and you told me, you're like, you're going to be fine. You are marriage type person. You are like, you belong in that. And you said that to me. Um, but yes, it was quite the experience of dating.
Was true.
Yeah. Laura.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
and because like the like in that online, well, like in that online dating, there is definitely like a different experience between men and women
yes.
because women are going to be more selective in general, and there are a whole lot more women than there are men. And so, like, there's just
Yeah.
it's a weird vibe. Like, online dating sucks. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well,
Like,
and
it's the
you
worst.
actually met somebody that you were with actually for a while longer than I was with Laura. Oh, you must have gotten a notification. We'll give her a second. She's new at this.
That's true.
Oh,
For a long time.
have you
My,
dismissed your notification or whatever? We've lost you. Thank you, Sorrels, for the auto subscription. So, oh, we've lost Nikki for a second. I don't know what she's done. Uh, but yeah, so Laura, for you, uh, when you started dating, did you and Sean have any sort of?
Sorry, I was just reading some guy tried to hypnotize me over Grinder. That's amazing.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we need to do one day. We'll do a Face the Chaos Tinder edition or something, because we
Oh my
all
gosh,
we all have
yes.
stories. We all
Oh,
have
the
stories.
stories, the stories.
Uh, I
Sorry,
might
what
have
did
to
you ask?
message. I might have to message Noodle and say, "Go give your mother tech support." Um, yeah, I was
There
asking.
we
Oh,
go.
there she is. She's back. You with us, Nikki? Oh, your signal looks low. Okay, you're good. Okay. Uh, yeah, I was saying for you, yeah, your signal's a little weak, but I was saying for you, you had actually started dating somebody, and for a while you were with him longer than I was with Laura. Uh, what's his name? The writer guy, Mike. Are we coming through for you, Nikki?
A little bit, yeah. I think I'm getting coming back in.
Okay, yeah, your signal is in and out. So yeah, so Laura, your process. Did you have any of those feelings or stuff that I had, or were you more like Nikki, where it was kind of you were excited to date again? Like what was?
Um, I was excited to date, yes. It was also really scary. You've been in a marriage so long, and dating in your mid 30s is very different than dating in your. I mean, I was like I said, 17, and much more self-aware at 35 after having two children in particular, and so that part's a little intimidating. At the same time, you cut through the bullshit much
Yeah.
faster because you know you you just can see clearly more of what you are looking for and what works for you and what doesn't. And but I will say in the beginning with Tinder, I think I was trying to recreate my married life and quickly get back into that because it's all I had really known. I mean, I grew up with being married, and so I was trying to find that. And when that wasn't happening, I did get scared of, am I going to
Mhm.
be alone for the rest of my life? And are all the good ones taken? you know, I mean, the thing is I know Nikki, you were saying there are a lot of men out there, but I actually see it a little differently. In terms of the stats of how many people are on these sites, I see it as, generally speaking, for men, they have a wider range, so they can, if you're 40, date a 45-year-old woman, heck, a 50-year-old woman, but also one of those guys will date people in their 20s. Um, and for a woman, for myself, I don't. I've had a lot of 20-year-old boys say, "Yeah, I like older women." I'm like, "No, but I like men," and you're not ready. And um, so for me, it had to be someone my age or a little
Mhm.
older. Daniel is my exception because I robbed the cradle with him. He's 13 days my junior, and I like to call him kid for that reason. Um, but it's a narrower window, I think, for women, and especially as women get older, it's hard to compete with the younger women out there who want to date the older men. So that was scary. But like after about, I don't even know how long on Tinder, a while, I got off the roller coaster. You do that. You get off, you get on. I got back on, and my attitude had changed about it. And instead of looking for, this amazing partner, I really focused on the partner that I wanted to be. And at that time, I didn't actually want any relationship because I knew I still had some growth I needed to do. But, women have needs, people have needs. And so I went on Tinder and I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to find an F buddy. That is literally what I was looking for. My profile actually indicated as much. Um,
It did.
but it also said, it did, it said looking for a friend with benefits, but the friendship matters. And that was literally what I was looking for. And the ironic thing about that is, as soon as I changed that perspective, dating became super fun because I had zero expectations. And Daniel is an example of that because I got to be honest, I would not have normally swiped. Well, I would have swiped him. He's adorable. His profile was great. But if I had heard he was separated, I would have been in that category, being like, I don't need someone who's still dealing with that mess. I don't want that. So had I been looking for something serious, it would have been a deal breaker for me. So I
Right?
understand why you struggled with that, Um, but as the case may be, I didn't care. I just wanted someone nice who I could have a good friendship with and have no commitment. Um, so Daniel and I's first date, he's probably told some of the group the story. We went out for pho, which if you've ever had pho, you're slopping
You're
noodles over a
you're
coal.
eating soup with sticks.
Yeah, it's not date food. it's not. You're gonna make a mess. You're gonna dribble. It's
Pho.
messy.
It's noodles in like a broth, Nikki. I don't
Yeah,
know if you.
but it's really messy. And I was like, you know what? I just don't care. I'm craving pho. I just want to go hang out with this person. And I met the best people during that period, many of which I stayed in touch with for a long time. Even, you know, Daniel, when we were serious with each other, I still kept in touch with some of those people for different reasons, obviously. But um, yeah, I don't know, but that became good and that became fun. And I really honestly would have liked to spend a little more time dating before I
Oh,
met
now
Daniel.
you
Now,
tell me.
yeah, well, because I hadn't had much experiences. I mean, I was really young, and then I had a very short period of dating before I found Daniel, and you know, now
And she'd
hopefully I
never
never have to
dated,
date again.
she'd never dated a redhead or a Latino, and got both in the same package.
You know what? I forgot that point. I remember thinking to my friends, I was like, man, I want a Latin lover. I want like, you picture this like
And the
tall,
universe
dark,
gave you me.
handsome. It did. And I was like, that is not what I meant.
This is not what I was picturing.
No.
I'm dying right now. That's hysterical,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
So yeah,
Be
we had
careful what you wish for.
right.
right?
The universe has a little bit of a sense of humor.
Yeah. But can I, Daniel, I don't know if you're going to get to this question, so I don't
Go
mean to
ahead.
like,
Go ahead.
turn those tables, but can I comment on my perspective of where you guys were at when we met
Mm-hmm.
and some of that history?
Sure.
Uh-oh, Nikki, what's the face?
She doesn't know what you're gonna say.
Um, it was interesting. I had many times where I actually struggled to understand why Nikki and Daniel did not work out. Different than I felt about my own relationship because once trust is broken, meh, maybe not. There's no
Right.
point. Um, and I would say to anybody who goes through a divorce, there are degrees of trust that have been broken, like inherently. Doesn't mean people are liars or anything. I'm not insinuating that of either of them, but um, you do lose trust of a person in different ways. But it was hard for me to understand because I mean, some of you who were at Pride this weekend, you saw it. When they're together, they have a chemistry. They are that power couple. They get on. They team up really well together. I saw Daniel is an amazing person, um, very conscientious, very giving, very kind. Um, Nikki is the same. I saw a lot of that from both of them. So I'm like, well, wait a second. If these are two individually amazing people, and they wanted to stay together for their kids. They did try to work it out. It was just, if neither of them did anything, that many would consider a insurmountable wrongdoing in a marriage, neither of them did that. And so it was hard for me in the beginning. I'm like, I don't get it. You know, what I will say is, I think sometimes even the best people get into patterns. And I think sometimes those patterns, when you're in them, are really hard to see them and to be able to stop them. I think both of them had individual hurt happening for different reasons. I think they've
Mm-hmm.
experienced the hurt together that was hard from what I didn't observe that, but from what I had been told. And, um, I think it's a bit unfortunate. I mean, not for me, obviously. Like, it worked out pretty well. No, but
And the
I did.
first jab is given.
Totally kidding. Actually, I would say it worked out for all three of us, is what I would say.
Right.
Um, you know, but and Nikki, I know you won't take this wrong way, but it was also hard for me to understand. I was like, Daniel is an amazing husband. He is. He is an incredible partner. He is more than I had ever thought a partner could be. And so it was also hard for me to understand. I'm like, why would you give up this amazing man? And that's not a slight to you in any way, Nikki, because I am sure the person that is with my ex feels the exact same way. And they're very happy, and I think he's in a much better place, and we're better apart. So, and I hope she feels that way. So it's perspective, right? But I mean, that's what I think sometimes just patterns, and especially when you add to that young kids, that is the hardest period of married life, is having young children, because there's such demands on you and you have to
Right.
be so selfless. And then to have something left over for your partner, I think is really hard. Daniel and I kind of have a little bit of an advantage because we have a third person and I have a fourth person helping us with some of that. They say it takes a village. Like we've all joked about,
She,
this is the way to raise kids, right? Every other
right.
week. It's great.
You right when you're
Yes.
ready to strangle them,
Send them on.
you get to send them off and get a little break and a breather. By the way, Seth made a good comment that he came for Mortal Kombat but got the Notebook.
Amazing.
I told you it'd be
It ain't
deceptive,
over.
ladies and
It
gentlemen.
still ain't
It ain't
over.
over. She's already said,
What do
don't
you
get their
want?
jabs in. What do you want?
No, but
Laura, like, can I say that you just made the waterworks come?
I'm sorry. I wasn't meaning to.
Daniel, no, it's not a bad thing. It's actually kind of beautiful. Daniel is an amazing partner. And I think if he and I had met in our 30s, we might have made something work. But there was still so much growing to do when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I, in important ways, grew in different ways. And also at the same time, in important ways, we stayed together. When
Right.
people ask me in some form, why didn't this work? Because y'all are still great together. The words I use are something like, we grew differently.
Yeah.
I was literally 21. I didn't have my entire prefrontal cortex when I married this man. Like it wasn't there. And he didn't have his whole prefrontal cortex.
I may have
And
also hit my prefrontal cortex a few times in soccer, so that's
and it's so like, so I think that he and I grew in very different ways. And we are not immune from statistics. And I think we have to acknowledge from my point of view, and that's really important. Like, I think that our abilities to say that, like, this is my point of view, I think we have to acknowledge that losing our middle child, like, we were a part of the statistics related to that. We weren't unique. We
right.
lost a kid together. And statistically, 50% of the people who lost a kid together divorce.
Well, and with that, what I have described to people when we've talked about that hurt, because I've had to talk to some people who've had losses as well, and I described to them, I said, one thing that you have to understand during that grief period is, and it's something that I don't think either of us really truly understood till much, much later, was that we healed differently and at different times. There would be times where one of us would have it together, the other one wouldn't. And then later on, the other one wouldn't have it together, and the other one's like, "Well, I've already healed. What's wrong with you?" Kind of like in the back of your mind, like it was such, it was such a difficult thing.
The way that people deal with the loss of a child, and for us, just so you have the story, it was a stillborn child between our two live children.
And it
Um,
was, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
and there was a lot of build up to it. We also had a lot of people around us, which for me was positive.
Right.
I don't know what that was for Daniel. And when that happens, I think that, like, each person engages it so differently. And this is a gut response. So Daniel, you're gonna have to speak to it.
Yeah.
My impression is that when this happened, it was something that allowed you to name out loud the the deconstruction process that was happening for you?
Sort of,
Okay.
sort of. It answered one of the questions for me. There was a lot which I've described to them here with the Chaotic Crew. They've heard the stories and stuff, and I've told them about the fact it was on Christmas Day. You know, coming from a religious background, it did not help that this all happened. She went into labor at the Christmas Eve service, and then Aiden was stillborn on Christmas Day. And so for me, it was a piece of the deconstruction. It was it fed it some because I was in that ish time, and that definitely contributed. But it wasn't the thing that allowed to name it. It was just another brick on top of the others.
I really one day would love to hear your whole thoughts on all of that. Your whole experience with all of that.
Right.
Because when I look back, we experienced that very differently, I think.
We did.
And I don't know exactly know how to process all of that. And that's where I'm going to end.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
we maybe that's another Face the Chaos edition is loss. You know, maybe because that's something that we could talk on for quite some time. So let's before it gets too late and Laura pumpkins on me, as we call, because she'll get tired in a little bit. But I'm a night owl, so it doesn't hurt me as much. But so we'll bring it back. But yes, that was a big time for both my deconstruction and affect how we ended up where we did. And Laura asked me during a lot of that time, like, why didn't it work? I don't know if she was wondering if there was something wrong with me that she didn't know. I don't know. There is, but she's figured all that out by now and has just accepted it. So lots of things wrong. But yeah. So from there, I know the other struggle that couples, especially those trying to do blended family, have is that final time of blending. And I know Laura has talked to me about it some. Laura, what do you remember about those first times of blending? Because I know there was a specific situation with the two of y'all.
Yeah, there were a couple actually.
Couple.
Yeah, there were a couple. I mean, I think grand scheme of things, we did it pretty damn well. However, there were
I
a
think
couple
we
of
did too, like pat on your back.
Yeah, likewise. I
You
mean,
and I
and
showed up super brave and authentic.
yes. Um, so, I mean, there's so many different dynamics with the blending process. Like we talked a little bit earlier about, me being involved with your kids and them being younger. And I do have a specific story about that where I stepped in something with that. There's a couple there, but and then there's the process of you being around my kids, um, and then there's the process of the four kids knowing
Mm-hmm.
each other, and then there's the four kids plus the adults, and then there's the adults independently. So it is interesting. Like when I thought about divorcing, I thought a lot about um, what I was losing. I thought about how would it impact my kids in terms of not having two parents in the family together under one roof. I thought about what dating would be like, all those things. But in none of that did I ever think about what being a step parent would look like and what a blended family would look like, and what my relationship with my significant others, former significant other would look like. Like it just wasn't anything. You're processing so much when you go through a divorce, and so much of it is around loss, and also a little bit of excitement around dating. That this dynamic, it just wasn't no thought given. And Nikki, I actually would agree with you that um, Daniel and I happened fairly fast, faster than either of us was expecting, and like the
Yep.
moving in thing was honestly more practicality than anything else.
It
Um,
was. Mm-hmm.
right. because both he and I are very logical thinkers, and we were like, look, we're adult, we can handle this. This it makes no sense to have two separate places, especially when we're gone every other week to our kids and we're together the other week. So it just made sense, but it was quick. And so I don't blame you, Nikki, for being like, WTF, guys. Like, that's quick. Um, so I'm trying to think of like what makes sense to share specifically, but I will say, because everyone wants the tea, like a couple of memories I have of um, there being challenge. One, Nikki, do you mind if I share the story about the birthday? And okay.
Go
Um,
for it. You share anything.
okay.
I'm
So,
so open.
okay.
I should
Um,
have more filters than I do, but I don't.
more what?
More filters. Like I just
Oh,
don't have
right.
any filters, really.
Well, this one was me being unfiltered back in the day. Not ill intended, but so Nikki just mentioned their loss of Aiden, and I've never been through anything like that, and it's not like I lack empathy or sympathy around it, but you hear now, like Nikki, I can tell even just from when I met you how much you have healed. Not that that ever completely heals, but your ability to talk about it is very different because you're a little more removed from it happening. And when Daniel and I first started dating, I think at that point you were maybe 7 or 8 years removed from his passing. Is that about right, timeline wise?
Give or
Ish,
take.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ish.
Close enough.
close enough. Yeah. And so that first Christmas, Daniel and I spent together. I'm raised as a Jewish girl and was very excited to have Christmas in the house. Like, never got to do that. So wanted to do a big deal out of it. And I wanted to get him an ornament engraved with Aiden's name and his birthday. And so I texted Nikki just to say, hey, I just want to make sure I had the date right. Um, and at the time, and Nikki, you can share your side of it, but I put her mind in a place in the middle of work. She's at a work day, and then this flash of something really painful comes to her screen, completely unexpected. Um, and obviously, she knew I was not meaning to do that, but I didn't even think about what that would do to her. Is there anything before I go on to where that went? Was there anything color wise you would add to what I just said?
I simply want to say that my tears are not because of what happened, but because I'm so grateful that you didn't shrink away.
Oh, thank you.
Like I
Thank
like I
you.
wish that I had a way to express that fully. And like I don't think I would change a whole lot of how I responded to you. And because of where we are now, I'm so grateful for the strength you had in the midst of that with my visceral response.
Well, thank you. I think you're giving me too much credit because I actually think it was you who I needed that lesson, and I think you gave it to me in kindness. Um, because and correct me if I'm wrong. I think because I know we went to have coffee and we talked about that, but I think at that point there was more. And you tell me if this was two separate events. I can't remember, but
Well, I,
do
I
we?
will say from that previous event, I got different text messages than you did, clearly. Nikki wasn't super thrilled with me at that moment.
Right,
This
which is
was
fine.
very early.
It was early. It was
It's okay.
very
That's
early.
okay, guys. We've
You're
healed.
not
Yes.
I'm
you're
okay
not
now.
upset for me.
I'll blink if
It
I need help.
yes, you and she were in a different place. Here is this woman who she doesn't know, who is
Right.
now
No,
asking about a very sensitive topic.
it was a fair
Um,
response. It
it
was
was, but she gave
yes.
me kindness, so thank you for. I guess
Yes.
Daniel's the one who really handled me.
It
I'm still
was
healing. I'm deconstructing from that event still, clearly.
it was such a weird experience because in my mind, Daniel had not. I offered some ornaments, and I don't know if this happened before or after, but I offered some of the ornaments that related to Aiden because Aiden was still born on Christmas Day.
Right.
So, like, I offered those to him when we were, separating all this shit. And he didn't take them. And I never fully understood that. But at the time, I couldn't explore it. But when you asked about that, there was this part of me that really wanted him to have a beautiful ornament from you. But there was this other part of me that was like, I don't want to talk about this at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, you tell me if I'm wrong here. I think I remember you saying something about some of those ornaments and memorabilia, and specifically that you wanted Nikki to have them.
I did.
It wasn't you not wanting them. So, Nikki, I just thought you should know that. Yeah. And I think you were
I,
saying,
I, I am, I am,
Yes.
I am not the one who had to carry him. I, as much as he was my son, and it was a hard thing for me too, I couldn't imagine what she went through, having carried him and lost him. And I just felt like I wanted her to have those things. That
okay,
wasn't
so
one out of all the different things we were going to fight over. That was definitely not going to be one of them. Like I was not going to allow that to be it.
yeah. But worth noting, Nikki's giving me a lot of credit for, being strong in the situation. But what ensued after that was we ended up going out for coffee, and she, like I said, with kindness, gave me her perspective. It wasn't like anger, um, and I felt awful because I was like, no, and she knows that wasn't my intention. It wasn't to make me feel awful, but then I was like, great, you know, good step in the right direction with the ex, awesome. Um, and I think, and this is the part where the timeline blurs to me. There was one other thing early on that became a sensitive part, and I think we talked about both in that coffee. But
Concert.
oh no, well you have a third then. We have one that we realized that wasn't the one I was
And
going
we're
to name.
taking
But
more swings.
yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll share this one, and then if you have the concert story, yeah, I do know what you're talking about, but that wasn't what I was in mind. So
Okay.
one of my love languages is gifts, right? Makes sense with the ornament. It's gifts,
Right.
and um, when the kids, before I knew them, when they were they would come to the apartment. Daniel and I were sharing every other week, like I said, and then I would go to my ex's, the house we shared, and I would stay with my kids. So I wasn't meeting them, but I would leave them notes and often little gifts, little trinkety stuff. And to me, it was just my way of like loving on them before I knew them. But I can understand, from Nikki's perspective, this is one of the things we talked about in that coffee. I was buttering up her kids, spoiling them. Um, and that to me was harder because, I was like, okay, it took me a minute. And actually, it really took my kids being around my ex's new significant other to understand that perspective because I still try very hard to not get in the way. Like, I have my own kids. Nikki is an amazing mom. Her and Daniel, they mom and dad hard. They've taught me a lot about being good parents because I tend to be a little like, I have just a different perspective of being involved in my kids' life than they do. Um, and, to like, I was just trying to be kind to the kids. But now, once I went through that and I felt all those fears of who is this woman around my kids, I might have used a different explicative, but who is this person around my kids, and how is she influencing them? And
Huh?
that person, she is very kind and she's very good to my kids. However, there's things that sometimes she's done that I don't necessarily agree with, and not, and being able to relinquish that control of influence to somebody else who you don't know and don't have any relationship with is really effing hard. So now, like, I have that perspective, and Nikki's kids are even younger, and so therefore I think I am more influential on the kids. I still know my place. I am not their mom. I love them. I take care of them in different ways than Nikki and Daniel do, but that I am very clear on those boundaries. And it's nothing Nikki's asked for. It's what I realize now is the right thing for them and for the kids too. But anyway, I'm rambling, but we did talk about that over coffee.
I,
And I
I,
did pull back a little bit.
We
It's come
did
back,
a
but
couple of
I,
times.
I will point
And
out, just so you know, you see in the chat, these are all the hearts Otter told everybody to give to the two ladies here. So these are all,
oh,
everything in the chat that's been
thank
blowing up is
you.
for you guys.
Thank you.
Laura, I remember going to coffee with you a couple of times. And like, I remember the first time we went, I had a lot of armor on. I remember. And I remember I left our first coffee and I called my best friend and I said, I would totally be friends with her if she were like with my ex. Like, I recognized the gift that you have to give to children. And I also recognize that you are a very powerful woman who looks to empower other women.
Thank you.
And when I saw that in you, I know that's when I no longer worried about my kids being around you. And I went, oh, she's just going to kind of emphasize what we're already doing.
I like the way you just described it. Emphasize what
Like,
you're already doing.
I remember thinking, like, I would totally hang out with her all the time. Also, yes, Daniel has a type.
I have a type for strong women. That's right.
You do. You do.
You
And
do.
it's funny to me because now, like, Nikki and I clearly do have a friendship. And poor Daniel, watch out.
Watch out.
It's a good thing I can cook. That's all I can say.
We- but there's just no getting away from it. Like,
I
he has
know.
two
It's
wives.
not.
He has
Well,
two wives.
well,
And
and
that's
so
fine.
they know the drill. Like I've told them, I was like, here's the thing. It's like we've got the vacation coming up, and it was actually Laura. So okay, so Nikki, you'll know this feeling. It's. Do you remember when I was sitting there watching the TV and the news about Indonesia came on about the tsunami?
Right?
And you, I mean, you saw it. You could see in me that, and you said, "Go." You're the one that told me to go. You're like, I know you want to go. Go. So Laura, we're talking about this trip to Finland, and it was her idea to invite you.
I
And,
didn't know that piece.
and it was a similar concept. It was she knew that in my head I was going, God, I would hate to be like I know how it would feel to watch my children go on this adventure and me not be able to join, go. And we are a family. We are a blended family, and there was no hesitation. So it was, hey, let's take Nikki along with us.
So, Laura, I need to say a big thank you to you because I didn't know that piece. When I have shared with friends about our upcoming trip, I've said, Daniel called me and he said, if you were taking the kids on a trip like this, I'd be kind of jealous and I don't want you to be that way.
Well, and that's what we
I
talked
didn't
about.
know that you were the one who suggested it.
Well,
So
I don't know that I was supposed to tell you that now that I think about it,
That
I'm
probably would
glad
have been
you
my preference
did.
that you didn't, but that's
but
okay.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think and that's why I didn't just outright say it,
So I
Nick, before.
think that like what that tells me, God, I'm such a crier. Um,
You really are, but it's
I'm
good. It's fine.
such
I'm fine. I'm
The
good.
two of you are
We
both
are. We're
criers.
horrible.
I
We're
am
horrible.
such a crier. Like my children, when we're watching a movie, they all like, "Are you crying, Mom? Are you crying?" Like I'll cry at cotton commercials. Um, but Laura, that is, I think that part of the reason that what we're doing here works is because we all have empathy for one another. And like the whole thing about the ornament for Daniel, I remember thinking, God, that's a really nice thing for her to do. Also, I don't want to be part of it, right? Like that was that part of me, right? And you plan this trip to Finland and you go, Nikki should be a part of this. That is what I would call a miracle because it is a very unlikely gift to be given. And you have given that to me and my children. And I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you, but I will say, um, selfishly, I, you're a friend. I want you to come. There's
I'm
that part
kind
too.
of excited about hanging out with you.
Don't,
I'm not going to lie.
don't forget, like, I mean, I get a little bit of it out of it too. um, and I just, let's be honest, like, no one wishes to have their parents divorced. Like, kids,
Right.
they don't want that. Now, certainly,
Right.
I think all four of our kids. I don't know if Liam has as many memories as maybe the older three, but I think they all see that we're all happier in this state than when you guys were married, when Mike and I were married.
So much better.
Yeah. However, I mean, it wasn't without struggle, and even now, like there's still some shuffling around, and like the kids will forget
There
something, they
is.
have to pack up, and I mean, my daughter, she just got a new job. She's older. She's 21, and originally I had offered her a small role in my team, working for someone in my team, not for me. And she's like, I don't know if I want to do that because Dad wanted me to work for his company, and so she felt being caught in the middle like that, and that's not uncommon. The kids, they love all of us, and they, I think, try to be very protective of all of our experiences, and so it's not all rainbows and sunshine, but I think given the
No,
hands we were all dealt, and again, by the way, I want to be very clear. Like, it wasn't this smooth in the beginning. It
No.
really
it
wasn't.
really wasn't.
We make
And
it sound nice, but it was not that smooth at the beginning.
I
no, it took a lot of figuring out.
Not gonna
and
lie, I was stressed because I was trying to like because I cared very much for both of you,
Yep.
and I am sensitive. I'm a sap, and I just want everybody to be happy. And trying
I
to balance y'all, two very strong women, was not easy. And yeah,
so I remember a conversation. You said something about I have somebody at home who's really upset because you and I were trying to work something out. And I remember saying to you something like, that's not my problem. Like, and now I would respond to that so differently,
Yep.
right? Because it is my problem. Because I love you. Like, the fact that you and I aren't married doesn't mean I don't love you and I don't care about you and I don't want good for you. Because I want good for you.
yeah,
And Um, and I remember that you and I don't know, maybe this was only in my head, but I feel like we had a conversation about it. We made the decision that if something that was happening in our relationship was making it more difficult for the children, you and I would do our best to take the burden.
Yes.
But if what they were experiencing was a normal burden for them to experience, we were totally going to let them have it.
Right. Yep.
And
Yep.
for me, I think that was an incredibly important guiding principle. It helped me organize my feelings and my experiences and like how I was responding to both you and Laura, because the two of you were creating a family and I wasn't in that space with somebody else yet.
Right.
The relationship I ended up in was very different.
Yep.
And yeah, so
Here we are. Or did you have something else to add, Laura?
Well, if you're wanting to change topics, that's fine. I was just going to add one more thing,
Go ahead.
that it's a little bit of tea. Nikki,
Oh.
you've been sharing very vulnerably. Um, and for anyone who is ever has to go through this or is early on with it, um, one of the things I struggled with the most in the beginning of all of this is, it's funny, Nikki, you made the comment of that's not my problem. I had a lot of the same feeling about things with you, right?
absolutely.
It was all my problem.
It
Correct.
was.
So, um, I had a lot of jealousy in the beginning. It's funny. I remember Daniel, you mentioning one of your, you know, whatever bro hater guys, came on at one point, um, and was trying to stir pot. This notion of like you taking a trip with your wife and your ex-wife, and
Oh, I
like
did
there's
have some.
something
Yes.
there you're trying to
A-
hide or scheme or something, which is
Apparently, Nikki, you and I are gonna cheat. Like,
yes, that's just so you
God,
know.
no.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, in a
and
house full of our children
yeah,
and my ex-wife and her
yeah,
brother. Like,
yeah. Which
Even
I have.
without that, no.
no,
You're right,
no.
right. So that's the thing. You see that they're very close. Nikki and Daniel are very close. Um, and in the beginning, though, I would struggle because in a lot of ways he was still acting as a partner to her. And he would tell me, look, it's, not that he didn't care about you, Nikki, but a lot of it was about taking care of the kids. Taking care of
It
you
was.
is taking care of the kids, right?
Yes.
Those are hand in hand. And in fairness to you, like, it is hard to do things all on your own. And, it's nice to have another person to help. And, but in the beginning, I really struggled with that. Like, there was one of the Christmases where, like, before we would do them together, I was home by
The
myself for a
first
day.
Christmas.
Yeah, and again, like I didn't have expectation of it going all freaking day long. And I did not know that. I didn't grow up with Christmas. And it was like 3 o'clock. I'm like, are you ever coming home? And it pissed me off because I'm like, why are you over there, spending time with, like, I'm here by myself. Now, I feel very differently about it now.
Sure.
But there was also like Daniel, like Nikki got to experience having kids with Daniel. I do not want more children. Just let me be clear. However, um, I, the partner that I had, my ex-husband, wasn't as hands-on as Daniel is with kids. And so I was really jealous of like, I'd look at pictures, like when he was over there with you and doing things with the kids, you know, I'll be honest, I cyber stalked some and I looked at pictures, like old pictures of pictures, and you'd have been putting down. I'm like, and I see you guys together and these family pictures, and it was hard because I was like, wow, I was like, I will never get that experience with Daniel. Like we're raising kids together, but it's different than
It is.
having kids together, right? And I struggled a lot with, I was like, you're my partner. Why does she get the benefit? And at the time, you guys were not in the place you are now. There were times where he would be upset because you guys had had some sort of fight, and I felt like you weren't being kind to him. And I'm sure there's two sides. Don't get me wrong, but
It's
I'd
fine.
be like, why are you being so nice to this person who is not being nice to you? And I struggled with that. And again, like I said, yeah, there's two sides to that point. I'm sure there was things coming from Needle too, but
Oh no,
from my
I'm perfectly
perspective, I'm
innocent. I don't do
uh-huh,
anything wrong.
uh-huh. But from my perspective, I'm like, my man, I'm protecting him. I wasn't in a place yet where I'm worried about protecting you. And that was really hard. I was jealous in the beginning of those kinds of things. Never worried about like, you guys getting back together. Like I could see both of you were not in that headspace, but it was more just like, like it was hard for me to know there was another person too. And it took us a while for me not to feel that way. I don't know when that turned. Um, but now it's quite the opposite. Now I get like a bonus out of it. And, I think Daniel does a really good job of balancing everybody's needs. And when he needs to go help you with something, I'm like, yeah, of course, don't even think twice. Like, yes, and I'm willing to do the same thing because like you're family now, right? It's a totally different dynamic. Um, but
I
that
remember
that took some
I
time.
was having some medical concerns, and you sent me a text, and you said, I wouldn't want to be alone if I needed to go to the hospital. Would you like me to come with you? And there are a lot of people in my life that I could have called on to do that for me. But you're the only person who offered it. And it, while I'm grateful I didn't need to take you up on that, I also felt incredibly humbled and blessed that you offered it. I don't know if you remember that, but I just remember how transformative that was for me.
And it's not even a second thought. Like it's just not.
I know,
Of
like it
course,
wasn't
you're
for
my
you. It was
family.
so
Of course,
fast. Like
fast.
I
Yeah,
could tell you didn't have like a second thought about it. You just were like, hey, if I were going through this, I would want somebody with me. Do you want me to come and be there with you? And I just was so taken aback and grateful at the same time. And then also like, oh, that's really vulnerable for both of us. Um, and I think one of the beautiful things, and I think one of the reasons that what we do works is because we are willing to practice that vulnerability.
yes, and um, now I'm going to give Daniel a little credit. I'll give you some as well. I think both of you have made me more conscientious, more kind. So I do, I really do. I mean, Daniel knows, like I can have. I'm not crying here. And it's not that I don't care. It's not that at all. It's just, I think both of you've made me more in tune with a wider range of emotions, like caring more and not putting up any of those barriers.
We've
It's so
softened her up some. We've softened her
I
up
guess that's
some,
what I'm trying
Nikki.
to say. That's a good way of saying it.
Well,
You
I
have.
never saw that. I've only experienced you that way. So I'm delighted to learn that and give yourself some credit. Like, if it had been super hard for you, I wouldn't have experienced it as authentic. But every time, like, you and I had coffee a few times to, like, work some shit out. Like, let's go sit and have a cup of coffee. Let's talk this out. Let's see what this looks like. And each time you met me, like, like in a positive way. I felt like that was my experience. I don't know yours, but I felt your authenticity and your kindness every time that we met.
Thank you. Likewise.
Well, and yeah, yeah. To me, I was like, during some of that rough spot, I was sitting there going, Okay, Nikki will see it eventually. She'll see it. It'll all be okay. Like, because I know you weren't seeing everything, and y'all were still working out with the coffee, meeting for coffee and things like that. And so it meant a lot to me when it all kind of clicked. And some of our favorite memories are our Christmases, where we now go to Nikki's. We've agreed specifically because of Aiden, that we will have Christmas together. That yes, get your questions ready. We're not going to drag it on too much longer, but that we
Okay,
would
like
have
I have
Christmas
zero
together.
filter. Am I allowed to go pee before we do questions?
You can, you can.
I just need
Yes,
you to tell me when I can go do that.
that's fine.
If you want,
If you want to go now while I talk about Christmas and how
you go
we,
do that.
yeah, go
Handle
ahead,
Christmas.
go ahead. So at Christmas we now the whole family is together. Elizabeth, I'll try to find a place to post this. I know this is a special live for us. Um,
Okay, keep talking. I'm gonna get a picture.
okay.
Just
Are you gonna
keep going with the story.
wait? Okay.
I got it.
So
I'm moving some stuff. Hang on.
so we are with Christmas. We decided that we would always have Christmas at Nikki's, or at least together at minimum. Right now, it's always at Nikki's, but at minimum, it is together. We don't go have Christmas with my parents, her parents, anybody else, like anybody else. We all do it together. The first Christmas, we all got matching pajamas. Second Christmas was probably, I think, Laura's favorite because we all came dressed in our onesies,
Mine was a unicorn onesie.
not a narwhal onesie. It was a unicorn
Also,
onesie.
if Kendra's still on, I do know the other meaning of that. I'll let you use your imagination. How about that?
So
Can
wait,
you
you got to
see
hold
it?
no, up. So this is the first one
This is our first Christmas
with
together,
matching PJ pants and stuff like that. So this is our
which
very
my
first Christmas.
teenagers rolled their eyes at, but they did.
Yes, but they love it now. You know they love it now
They do.
because they're like we get to experience Hanukkah and Christmas. Uh,
Yeah, they just like the gift.
they like the gifts. It's all good. But that was the thing. So now that's our tradition. Every year we have Christmas. Every year we do it together. We celebrate at Nikki's and do it all as a family. She makes her chocolate and biscuits, chocolate gravy and biscuits.
So
So,
good.
Nikki, before I forget, I do know that Sorrels, TW, and Ray both told me that Emily has asked about you, your little
Aww.
BFF. And I don't know if y'all saw my glorious picture that she made for me. This is me. This is apparently me.
It
So
looks just like
it looks just like me. I mean, the belly, this is the dad bod. This is the dad bod. It was fantastic.
That's amazing.
Uh,
Emily is the definition of black girl magic. Like
right.
when you look it up in the dictionary, her picture is there.
Yes, she is
Um,
fantastic. Emily is
Hamburger,
wonderful.
like I scoffed at this notion at first, this chocolate gravy and biscuits. It's magical.
And add bacon in there.
It's magical.
So,
It's totally Appalachian. It's
so,
totally country and Appalachian,
but
but it's amazing.
before we get too late, and now that we've told a bunch of the sappy stories and stuff, I do remember y'all saying in the live on Saturday you're supposed to talk about my feet. And so I think before we take questions, I think y'all are supposed to tell them something about my feet.
We did promise. Laura, would you like to tell the story?
Okay, I don't remember how we started this conversation. Do you?
So it was summer and it was at Natalie at Noodles.
You can
I
say
don't know.
Natalie. They
Say Natalie.
they
Okay.
know
I
her real
don't
name.
really know how that works. I'm really bad at that. But it was Natalie's birthday party and there was swimming at the apartment where y'all live. And you and I sat there and I had recently been looking for some of those foot heels, right? Because I'm in my 40s and my feet get icky. So, like, I was trying to take care of them. And you and I had a conversation about that, and it turned into a conversation about Daniel's feet, which are ridiculous.
Dude,
Ridiculously soft is
there it
probably
is.
correct.
It sounds much better. Yeah.
Ridiculously
Like,
soft, like it's super irritating. Honestly, it's the reason we got divorced. Like, I couldn't handle it. I'm just kidding.
And it's not like I didn't do things. I was a rock climber.
yeah.
I
He
high
was
like
so athletic.
I was so active,
Yeah.
but they always, you know,
His feet are so. Am I allowed to say that word?
LG's in
So
here.
effing soft. I don't really know the rules here,
I
That's
don't
but
fine.
either.
No,
That's why I can
you can
avoid
say
it.
that. Yeah.
they're
Okay.
crazy soft. Like, it's ridiculous. And you and I both kind of had a little moment. Like,
They bonded over
why
my
the
feet.
hell is his feet so soft? It should be our feet.
That's yes, 100% right. Yes.
Hmm.
100%. Because it's stupid. It's really dumb.
Yeah. It's yeah. They're
So, Laura, I think that Jim Jeffries described it the best. When Jim
uh-huh.
Jeffries talks about his skincare routine, he
Which is
basically,
none.
yeah, um,
Yeah, and you don't do anything for it.
that's what he talks about. Jim Jeffries is like, I just gave up on my body so that my body finally went, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves
Right.
and just do it.
It's like me
I,
and houseplants. It's the same thing.
I
Suck it up, Buttercup. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah, well, the house
It's going
plants
to be a
lose.
bumpy
Yeah,
ride.
oh, it is definitely a bumpy ride back out to the trash or the
I'm not raising any snowflake plants.
you.
They've got a little
If I'm
chance.
not mistaken, you unalived a was it a cactus?
No,
Did
maybe.
you water it too much? Because that's
I don't
my
know. No,
sin.
this thing
I watered
I think this thing just gave up.
like like I sometimes care too much.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
oh, you need a
Seth
little bit
gets
more
it.
water. That's
Laura, Seth gets it. He says if they don't have what it takes, too bad. LG, good to
Like
see
your fish
you.
sandwich, eat it up or starve.
If you guys have questions, y'all
LG.
can start queuing. Yeah, LG's here. Y'all can start queuing up in the guest box, and we'll start taking some questions. We won't make them super long, but if y'all have anything to say
So,
to the ladies
plant
and stuff,
story. I really wanted an aloe vera plant, and my mom had a really great one. And she's has quite the green thumb, opposed to my very whatever the color is of filling plant thumb. And so she split her aloe vera plant, and she was going to bring part of it to me. That part quickly died. And my mom said to me, Nikki, I think it committed unaliving
Unalive.
itself. I'm not really sure what the words
yeah,
unalive,
that's fine. Yeah, it
but
unalived
like
itself.
it unalived itself rather than having a very slow death at your house.
That's
And I
fair.
really couldn't
That's
argue
fair.
with her.
So clearly, I have a type. Uh, so yes, all right. So let's see who we got waiting in the queue here. I know we got at least one. Otter may have some questions for you. Now, Otter got a chance to meet these two lovely ladies. You going to go on camera, Otter, or are you just going to stay as a voice in our head?
I'm gonna stay as a
Otter
voice in my head.
do what Otter wants.
Oh yeah, I just asked. It was just a question. It was just a question.
I'm gonna make it quick because I want to make room for everybody. But so first of all, to both of you amazing women, I am still reeling from the love and compassion and the outright just acceptance and allowing me to come into your lives like you did, with open arms, the hugs. I'm still riding on all that, and it's something I won't ever forget. Um, so thank you for making me feel so welcome when I come up there. It felt like hanging out with friends that I've known all my life, and
Or family.
or family. Yeah, it was so very family feeling, and everything that just for chat to know everything you guys show here tonight. All of that is real. I can vouch for it. It is 110% real. It is absolutely real. And in some regards, unreal, how loving this family is. I cannot say that enough. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Seth has a question for you, Otter.
Yes, Seth, I got the carnitas. It was life changing, and I seriously may have to turn to Jesus after that because they were unbelievable. Um,
Oh my! Don't do that, Otter. Don't do that. Says
um,
the
So,
Reverend.
Says the
and it
Reverend.
has
Yeah.
to be said that that the compassion and empathy that Nikki showed from the Christian perspective during the Pride Parade was astounding. It truly renewed my faith in humanity. And so I just want to say, Nikki, that if you ever do decide to, spread your message, your perspective on TikTok, um, if you need a mod, I have you.
Oh,
So,
no, you can't. No, you're my mod. Don't you
um,
can't
okay,
cheat
so
on me. And LG's going. I mean, you're LG's mod too. This is getting now.
oh,
It's
I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Trust me, I
no,
will make it work. The point
and
is that I just that kind of love is what the world needs from both sides,
right.
and I am here for it 100%. I really am. So it's amazing. It
So we're
really
gonna have to figure out a custody agreement
yeah, yeah,
just to go with the topic. That's
We
right.
need a mediator
oh,
because Otter,
yeah.
I think you're one of the most beautiful human beings that have ever existed. And I'm so very grateful that you let me get to know you this weekend. Um, I have a good friend here in Atlanta, and she and I just keep up with each other. We really call ourselves like platonic life partners. And you are who I messaged with her about so much over the last week. Um, I would never place anything on you. So this is all in my perspective. And it is my perspective. But when God made you, God said, it is very, very good. And that's
for
my
that.
perspective. It does not have to be yours at all.
I
I
I,
would
I
never
will.
push that on you. But you are
I
beautiful.
accept that lovingly. I really do. Thank you, Nikki.
So I would just say, and I'm not a Christian. I've listened to several of Nikki's sermons, and they're really, really good. She has a really good perspective. Some of the things I roll my eyes at because
Fair
I,
enough. Totally.
I struggle with some of what the book she's basing these things on. However,
Yes.
her messages are always excellent. So if you get a chance to listen to her, even if you want to take it with a grain of salt, if those are not your beliefs, which is how I take it, she still has really excellent messages. And I think the way she practices Christianity is the way organized religion can be a good thing, or religion can be a good thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people get it pretty darn wrong, but
Yeah.
So
she
many.
doesn't. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't, honestly and truly. If my Christian experience had been what Nikki puts out into the world, I would probably still be a Christian. It's simple as that. I wouldn't have had any of the experiences that I had that you know made me go down this path. I don't think I ever would have started it, to be honest. And it's just me, but I don't want to take belief from people who are happy and loving in their belief. I want to share their happiness with them, even from quote unquote the other side of the fence. Because that happiness, when it's based in love, that means we're all growing from the same root, the same tree. Whether we
Yeah.
realize it or not, whether we're different colored flowers, it's all the same tree when it's rooted in love.
Yes.
And
Agree.
that's how I see it. And like I said, it's just my unique little otter perspective. But you ladies made me feel like family. I still feel like family. I will never stop feeling like family. And thank you so much for the love that you showed me. Um, I had a question,
What's up? What's up?
and then I'll hop off here. So my question to all three of you is, if you could go back in a time machine and you could choose, any point, is there anything that you would choose to do different, and if so, why?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Otter,
Such
do you want that, like, you mean even before any of us met, or do you want it like from the point our lives intersected forward? What would
I
you
would
prefer?
say I would say just for the sake of topic, basically,
Hmm.
if you could go back in time concerning anything on the topic at hand, would you go back and would you change anything, and if so, why?
Ooh,
Who wants to take it first? You want me to take it first? Y'all need a
I
minute?
need a minute to think about
Okay.
it.
So that is a very good question and an extremely tough one because obviously if you're a nerd and a geek, the concept of going back in time creates a butterfly effect.
oh my gosh.
And so it's very tough for me to say. But for the sake of the question, if it didn't really change anything now because we are in such a good place, it's hard to say that I want it to be differently. I would have focused more on some personal healing at different points in time so that we could get to this place sooner.
Hmm.
Um, because this is something that to me, Nikki and I talk about it all the time. What we have as a family is one of the things we're most proud of. What we have built here out of the chaos that was our life, out of the hurt, the harm, all of it, where we have now landed is one of our proudest achievements. And so I probably would have wanted to go back and healed myself better so that we could get to this point sooner.
Man, that's hard to follow.
This is why I'm chaotic dad, yo.
What's supposed to say after that?
Yeah, that was a beautiful answer.
Laura's probably like, I would have gone for the promotion sooner.
What?
Gone for that
What?
promotions. No, I'm just messing with
I
Oh,
and I this may okay, so this might show I have no idea. This is I won't even make that claim. Okay, back up. Think before you speak. Okay.
you.
Um Conversely, I'm not sure I would change anything because I think the reason we part of the reason that we got to where we are is because of what the journey we traveled. It's only part because we also have other gifts that have been given to us from parents and friends and self and yada yada yada. But I think that where we landed um, is in part because of the chaos that we went through. And I'm not sure that's a really different answer from what Daniel said. I just think it's the other side of the coin.
Right. Kind of needing the chaos in order to grow
I
to build
remember,
what we are.
okay, so I remember one time, so I have an amazing therapist who's retiring soon. I don't know what I'm going to do without Janet. I really don't. I've been with her for over 20 years. She's an amazing therapist, and she has walked me through a lot. And I remember shortly after our divorce, well, shortly after our separation slash divorce, because all that gets timeline weird.
Paperwork and shit.
But you and Laura were really officially together. And I saw things happening in y'all's relationship. And I said to her, I have been wanting this for so long. Why would you do this with me? Blah, 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 blah. Right? That was therapy, Nikki. And she said, it doesn't always make sense. But sometimes you can't move forward until you're apart from the person who's keeping you from moving forward. She said it way better than that.
Yeah.
But essentially, it gave me peace. And I also realized that I wasn't able to grow in the way I needed to grow until I was on my own. And that I needed that for me. In as much as Daniel needed what he needed for himself to grow. And those parts of ourselves were never going to grow and flourish while we were together.
Yep.
Yep.
And that was such an important learning for me. Like, we had been married so young and we were entrenched in ways of being, and all the cuss words, we had both been through purity culture in the 90s.
Oh, God, yes.
In Christianity.
Oh.
And the truth of the matter is that movement made so many marriages impossible.
Yeah.
For 1,001 different reasons.
Yeah.
And that isn't even our whole story, but it is a piece of our story. And so really, like, because we had both grown up in such a similar culture, we were really never going to move beyond where we were until we broke out of that. For good or for ill, for morals or for not, for religion or for not, for God or for Satan or for whatever the hell you want to talk about, it wasn't going to happen until we had the pain of being on our own.
Yeah. Yeah. So, by the way, ladies, what you see in the chat right now is every now and then somebody comes in and asks for a virtual hug, and everybody gives a hug.
I see that. I was going to say, hugging rainbow ghosts.
Well, we actually have a regular guest who shows up every now and then out of the blue, Max. Everybody knows Max. Rainbow Ghost, I appreciate you asking. It's important that you are able to come up and actually request it. It's important that people are able to ask for what they need. Max was one of our early ones. He's a Christian. He doesn't talk to us much. He doesn't say much. He shows up and it could be first thing in the morning or whatever, and just says, hey, I need a hug. And that was something Otter brought up to me a while back when I was having a struggle with this platform during some drama, some internet drama. And was like, what we have here is this beautiful family, just like my own and everybody here online, that we don't know what he's going through. But if that one little icon, that one little emoji is what helps him get through the day, just getting some attention from everybody, hey, I'm glad we can do it. So, thank you.
So can I get my short?
Yeah, Laura, what's your time
keep
travel answer?
I'll keep it concise. I'm going to give two answers. One is, I wish my ex and I could have gotten to this place. And it's not that we're in a bad place at all. It's just, these people carry a piece of your history with them. I mean, Nikki, you have a chapter of Daniel's life that is 16, 17 years that I was not a part of, and that is yours, and you and his together, and my ex has that with me. And there's always going to be those little inside jokes and those memories, and they stay with that person, and I miss that. My ex didn't want to have that kind of relationship, not because, we're adversarial, but he just felt like he needed a little more distance to heal, which is fine. So that's piece one. I wish that could have gone differently. And then the second thing is, I really wish, Nikki, we had you marry us because Daniel's dad did our service, and he did a great job, and we really curated his words. we went over the whole we went over the whole thing with him in advance. We're like, here's what you can say, and here's what you can't say. And I know, Nikki, that wouldn't have been of any issue with you, but yeah, I think it would have been ironic and also charming and super fun to have you do that, and I think you would have, and
I totally would have,
I really wish we had done that. That's all.
because it would have been weird for everybody else.
Oh, I would have loved doing that to my family. I would have loved it.
I celebrate your union. I celebrate however the two of you want to talk about it. Like in my language, I use the language of covenant together, but like you all have made this, the two of you have made this promise to one another, and I celebrate it, and I'm grateful for it because I know that it's good for Daniel. I see that. I assume it's good for you, and I can see that too. I just don't know you the same way I know Daniel. So
it is. But yeah, so.
And Laura, and I also celebrate it because Daniel could have chosen anybody to make his life with, but I'm super grateful that it's you because your influence on my children is completely positive. Like what you bring to the life of my children, like I never worry about, not once. Like after you and I got to know each other and I understood a little bit more about where you came from, like you do have influence on my kids. And I trust it implicitly.
As long as I don't involve twerking in that, then yes. That's another story we won't get to today.
That's a whole nother story.
Whole other story.
So much.
Otter,
Thou shalt not twerk.
you gotta. There it is. That's what I was waiting on. Everybody wants to hear Otter's laugh. We love Otter's laugh.
It's such a great laugh.
Such a great laugh.
Well, all three of you answered that well beyond my hopes, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Summer had wanted me to stay here to
Summer, did you?
for something.
There's Noodle. That's for you, Otter. That was for you.
Oh, thank you.
Was that what you were doing, Summer? Did you want to come say hi, Summer? Hi, Noodle.
Noodleness.
Noodle.
Huh?
Otter's on here. Noodle. Otter said hi.
Otter on there.
Hi.
I can hear you from outside.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were super loud.
I was near the basketball goal. Shut your mouth. Go. Don't be ugly.
All right, guys. I'm going to
Otter,
stop
good to see
hogging
you.
the spotlight.
Oh, you're fine.
I love you all very much. I hope to
Otter,
see you again real soon.
Beautiful human.
Thank
You're
you.
always
We'll
allowed
definitely
to hog the spotlight.
Yeah.
The chaotic crew gang symbol right there. That's right. All right, guys. So we have a little bit, just not much more time because we're gonna have to get to bed soon. But anybody else want to come up, have anything to say? Any questions, comments, night remarks, whatever? Feel free to request in the box. Ladies, while I wait to see if anybody else requests, thank you for sharing and being
Don't
vulnerable
you have an
with a family.
emoji?
Yeah,
It was an emoji.
yeah. You've seen it before.
Go.
I don't
Go.
remember.
This is grown up time. Go away. This is grown up time.
Daniel, there was
Go
a question for you in
Oh,
the
let me
chat.
see.
Oh, wait. Was there a question?
Since the ladies were open about it, were you ever jealous to them? In what way, Joanna? Like I was. There was a period of time when
Let's see here.
Nikki we were respectively dating different people, or I was trying to, and it seemed like I had a dry spell, and I was a little bit jealous. I was a little bit jealous of her, I guess it felt like she was getting some more dates and stuff than I did, and there was a little jealousy there, but very funny, Seth. There's no such thing as an ex-wife. Nikki, that's a joke because I always get attacked for saying ex-Christian, And so that
Oh,
Seth just said, "There's no such thing as an ex-wife." That was really good. Oh my God, that was funny. Um,
It's really.
Chad,
Oh, oh,
Chad, we
oh.
will definitely have dinner at some point. I know when you can, you let me know. We'll figure something out. Yes. As far as okay, jealousy, I'm trying to remember. It was mainly that when I kept getting rejected a lot, and I felt like I was getting too old for the dating scene or something. But
I, I think one of the things that, and I don't know if this dynamic existed with you, Nikki, either. Um, I don't suspect that it did, but Daniel and I both recognize that we have inclusion needs,
mm, hmm
meaning like we don't always want to like be at everything, but we like to know that one is there, and we're both. It sounds. I feel even silly saying it out loud because half the time I'm gonna say no, I don't want to do it. I just want to stay home. But uh, Daniel understands that, and he has the same need, and so we are very gentle with each other with that. And so I do think there's been. I couldn't name them, but I do think there's been a few times where both of us have felt kind of that pain of just feeling left out, wanting to be a part of something that, is happening in one of the kids' lives or in, I guess that's probably the biggest place that that happens, right? Or trips, I guess. Like I've had, work trips before. And so I guess that would still be described as jealousy. To me, jealousy is anytime there's something that, you want that somebody else has, right?
Mhm.
So I think there's some of that sometimes, but it's it's not very prevalent. Like I don't think any of us are really jealous people.
not
Yeah.
in general. Yeah, and
not
most of it's
We have
FOMO.
some great qualities. Yeah,
experiences
FOMO. Yeah.
for sure.
Joanna, the
I
rejections
can't really
came
find what you
because
guys say something.
women thought I would be
Wait, I
lying or
just said
something.
one more thing. I want to
Oh,
say
oh,
you were saying you were getting too old for the dating stuff, but there's no age limit because I'm over
no,
here seeing
there's not.
no, I'm over here seeing weddings with like 80 and 90-year-old couples, and it's adorable. You're
No
never
way.
too
Okay.
old.
No
No,
way.
you are right. But there's a period of time when you're so Joanna. A lot of the rejections I talked about earlier had to do with the fact that I was actually honest when I was dating, and instead of lying like the other guy, a lot of guys on TikTok will do. I was actually, that I would say I was separated, but were, you know, and a lot of the women just didn't want.
I,
They
I
didn't want any
also think
drama.
I also think you are much more confident than you
I
were back then.
that was
Because again,
the
it's
That's
yeah
true.
you're
my
coming out of
confidence.
a marriage. Like you've been married forever. We all got married young.
It's
We
such a
don't know what
weird
it's like to be on the
thing.
dating
Well,
scene and know whether or not you got, swagger or
well, and
whatever.
I didn't date much before Nikki either.
Yeah.
I didn't have that
And
many
I
girlfriends and stuff. And so I
yeah,
didn't know how to date. I didn't have that
right.
confidence. We joke now because Laura's like, "Well, I can't let you go now. You have too much confidence." Like I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, fair. I think I do pretty decent on the market now, but I have no interest in it." So, um, but yeah, that was the thing is I had a much lower. I was Joanna, I was still in some of that deconstruction part, which included what Nikki was saying about like the purity culture, the guilt, the lots of things, not really knowing how to do it and how to feel about doing it. So it really kind of did mess with me some, but that was a long time ago.
Earlier in the chat, I saw somebody asking about how I dealt with your deconstruction.
Oh, yes.
And I thought it was a really interesting question, and I'd really love to expand it a little bit because the three of us have very different. Well, actually, I don't know that the three of us, but we have different upbringings of relationship to a deity, I think. And I think it's a really interesting part of our family dynamic.
Hmm.
Me as a reverend, you as someone who What would you call yourself, Daniel?
Now,
Agnostic atheist or atheist?
agnostic atheist.
Agnostic atheist. Okay. And I know that Laura was raised Jewish,
Hmm.
and I won't pretend to even understand your particular relationship to God in that perspective. And I know that she and her family have welcomed me and our children to Hanukkah. I remember that our youngest beat my tail at dreidel, the dreidel game. Taught me how to play it, and then like beat me real bad. And I think that while we were married, you begin to voice some of that deconstruction. I don't know that we would have called it that then.
There was a lot of
And
doubt. Yeah.
it churned my stomach. I didn't know what to do with
Well,
it. And
so
I didn't know what
one,
it meant for us.
but one thing that was hard for us, because if you remember coming out of college and getting married, I think you had it in your mind, like at some point we would do mission work,
Yeah,
like not short-term missions.
because we had done that dating.
We had done the short-term missions dating. We had done that, and then I wasn't like Laura. It's similar to when you ask me like, "What do we want to do this weekend?" I'm kind of like, I'm not sure. Whatever. Like that's kind of how it was with that. Like I had this one pull that was telling me I needed to find my calling. You know, that my dad had it at 9 years old and again at 11. And so right. And so I had this like pull saying I had to have that, while I had this other pull saying like that doesn't really seem to match with what's going on up here and in here. Like, and so, but I also felt like I was disappointing and letting Nikki down at the same time. So there was, for me, it was this perfect chaos, if you will, of things pulling me in all sorts of directions. And with her, it felt a lot more set that that was probably something we were going to do. And I'm sure it was painful when it didn't shape out that way.
I think, yes, we could go back and forth on that all the time. And at one point, when you really had found, I think you probably had found some clarity on your faith or lack thereof, however you talk about it. I can imagine that my chosen vocation was in your face all the time.
It didn't
And
help. Well, it
tried to be
helped.
hard.
It helped that it wasn't as hard as it could have been because you were extremely progressive in your views. So
Sure.
it actually helped, like you and the church there in Macon and the people that, I mean, the fact that
Yeah.
in Sunday school class, Sean had no problem with me cussing,
Right, right.
you know, and saying, you know, and being very open and vocal about things, that it's actually probably kept me in a little bit longer because there was some acceptance from that looked different than what I was used to in the more conservative space. So, yeah. But
But
that was definitely a good question.
like our children, like Daniel, yours and my children, are on their own journey related to faith. And they are both, I think, in different spots and figuring it out whether they'll carry faith or not in the way that I would talk about it. And I'm so grateful that they've had the experience with Laura and her family because they can see the way that looks in a different context. And they both go to schools where they experience faith from other people in different contexts.
Right.
And I only think that's a positive thing. I think that's good for them to help them figure out where they are. I have a feeling they're probably going to be different from where I am. And it would be a lie to say I didn't have any grief over that because that's real.
Mm-hmm.
And part of being a parent is carrying grief. It's just a piece of it.
Yep.
And I accept that as part of my role as their parent, I think.
Yep. All right. I know it's getting late. Y'all had this is last call for any questions from the crew. You can put them in the chat and or come up real quick or whatever. But Chaotic Crew, thank you for showing the love, for being here to meet these two lovely ladies. I did throw this. This was a last minute idea to throw this poster
I
up.
love it.
I thought it was hysterical.
I took a
That's
screenshot. Awesome.
hysterical.
Because I will send you the image if you want it for your phone. Okay, I will be happy to do.
I
But
want to turn it into one of those. What are they called? Emotes?
emotes, yeah, or emojis, yeah.
Emotes? I want to turn it into an emote.
Like, I've never
I
had
might
such
do
a
that.
fierce face in my whole life. Like, whenever I try to look mean, you always laugh at me.
It's true.
Because you're not mean.
But that's like a legit serious face. I look pretty
It
mean.
is. You actually did really good in that. It was good. And
I had a good
Laura,
pose
I'm
taking my
I'm
picture.
surprised Laura's wasn't.
Exactly.
There's a story behind that, but yes.
There is.
You did have a question, Nikki. Seth
Yeah.
is very stuck on wanting to know about chocolate gravy. Please explain chocolate
Fair.
gravy, Seth says.
Wait. Oh, chocolate gravy is the most amazing
Oh my
thing
God, it's
in
so
the whole world.
good.
Let me talk about
Good
my
night,
research.
Lotus. Good to see you, Lotus. Thank you for stopping by.
So, for those of you who are interested in chocolate gravy, I grew up going to my granny's house, and the more that I've learned about it, I'm pretty sure it comes from Appalachia, kind of like in the area of like you put jelly on jelly or syrup on crumbled up biscuits. But in the world that I grew up in, we poured chocolate gravy over delicious homemade buttermilk biscuits in the morning. And it was something that my granny did. And I've had it in two different ways. I have a friend who made it for me one time, and we traced it back to Appalachia. And hers was more of a spread. So the chocolate was, think of like a chocolate butter. And so you would take it and you would spread it over your biscuit and then eat it. But in my own tradition, it's more like a syrup. So think of a fudge recipe before it gets hard. So like it's still like pourable. And so we crumble up the biscuits, which I
Well,
claim is the
some
best
people
way.
Some of us
crumble it.
do.
I dip. I
So
dip.
I get to say how to eat it. You hush your mouth.
I'm a
And
dipper.
though my mom does eat it differently, but there are lots of ways to eat it, but crumbling is the best. I'm here to tell you. Crumble up your biscuit, and then you pour this delicious chocolate syrup on top of it. And I personally love to like drag my bacon through it because like the
Now
salt.
that's good. The bacon is in it is good.
But that's chocolate syrup,
That's
chocolate
chocolate syrup.
gravy,
Well,
and
Seth,
I highly recommend.
well, Seth's response was, "Oh my God."
Yeah, it's stupid.
It is stupid good. So,
It's stupidly good.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can hit that 60,000 real quick while we say our farewells. We're going to offend. This is the last controversy we're going to create, because at the end of many of my lives, I will encourage. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chaotic Crew family. To support the channel, YouTube, for less than the cost of coffee, and definitely less than what the church asks of you, you too can subscribe to support the channel or provide gifts to support this channel. And all hail to Saint Ryan Reynolds.
Unless you're Nikki.
Unless you're
And
Nikki.
And then it's just a 5.
He's
This
so
is a
mad.
No, it's not.
And this might totally get me banned from TikTok. I
Oh.
just don't get it.
Oh,
And I
Shane,
apologize
good to see you,
to
Shane.
Eric.
I was
I'm so
in-
sorry.
I was in the car, and she was. We were driving to get May, and I and I was talking about something. I was like, it was a midday.
Hey,
And
hold
she
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Max is here. Sorry, we always pause for Max. Send the hugs to Max. We always pause for Max.
Mwah! Hugs,
Hugs,
hugs.
Max.
I'm hugging you for Max.
Sorry, I always.
Here, I'll show you.
How do you hug? Teach me.
It's
Then you
just.
go here.
Can you not
you're
just like what?
don't want to reply. Where's your normal keyboard?
Hit this.
That's what
Hit
it.
it again.
This is. Oh my gosh.
We're
Don't
gonna
you
do
know
this.
how to use the phone?
I do. You
Like,
can
you're
have a
This
lot
is
of.
this is its own show in and of
keyboard.
itself. This is its own
What is
show.
that picture?
It's two people hugging.
It looks to me like a video reel. It does. I kept thinking people were posting video reels.
Thanks,
But it's-
Max. I hope you're doing. Hope everything goes well, Max. I know it can be tough sometimes. Oh my goodness. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay, Nikki. It's fine. You can just send the virtual hugs. There you go.
I'm learning.
She's learning. She's learning.
As I was saying, I was talking about my day, and I was like, "Oh, it was kind of a midday." And then Mom was like, "Oh, like that guy?"
Oh God.
I was like, "What guy?" And she was like, "That guy, and I was like, "Ryan Reynolds?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm
This
like,
is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the real reason we're not together. Is this? There was this deep-seated
Why?
something like we just knew. We just. Yes, that's fair. Nikki, you
Don't
could just
get
say
it,
hug
but
as well.
I respect your love of Ryan Reynolds.
Look, again, the basic rule here at the LGBTQIAR, or those of us who are Ryan sexual, is typically it's only the straight men. Yes, we've accepted a new letter into the Rainbow Tribe. It
I'm not a
typically
straight
is
man.
the straight man. Well, that's why it's not a thing for you
I'm
then.
not either, but I'm still.
But you're
I'm still fully. I'm
but you're
bisexual.
bi. But you're bi, so you
I
still
am.
fall. Yeah, you. But it's fine. It's fine. It's different for
But I
everybody.
never meant to offend Eric the way that I did.
That is true. Guys, Cata Crew, at the live, if you weren't there on Saturday, y'all know Eric at Chaotic After Dark deals with all sorts of insane debates of all kinds. But we have never seen Eric so fired up as when Nikki was like, I don't get it on Ryan Reynolds when we were joking about that.
I said he was like a 5.
He was like a 5.
And-
Sorrels was there. Sorrels saw that. It was hysterical. He went, Eric.
I really upset
Yeah,
him.
it did break his heart. Wiffle's got it right. It didn't offend Eric. It broke his little heart. That's right.
And I didn't mean to. I think Eric is wonderful.
Nikki,
wish
you
I-
should you should send Eric like a reel.
I should. When I learn how to do that,
emoji.
I will.
Send them a reel, like an Instagram reel.
No, like she. Never mind. The moment has passed. She thought the hugs looked like reels. Like you should send him a reel. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Moving
so
on.
old. I'm so old.
You're younger than I am.
But I'm so old.
Yes, but Poppy, you are online.
That's
She
fair.
isn't.
That's fair.
I do run the social
I'm tech savvy. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it is getting late. I don't want to keep these two wonderful, beautiful ladies up. Ladies, I love you very much. Y'all know it. Even you, Noodle. But Chaotic Crew, thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing the love.
Yes.
And thank you for being a part of this. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. For me, this whole relationship thing, this whole blended family that we have is one of the things that I am most proud of and was most excited to share with you guys. So I'm glad we did not get a whole bunch of trolls like we sometimes do. And that this was a very intimate moment with family. They got to hear our story, and hopefully for any of y'all that may be going through similar things. Look, Joanna stayed up. Yeah, Joanna,
Wow.
you're in. Joanna, remind me, you are in where? You remind me where it is, because I trying to keep up where everybody is. But this is what it's about. that my channel is about to try to help people heal from things. And divorce is one of those things that is, I mean, we look at the statistics and it's insane, how it affects people. Yeah, the UK, that's what it was. How it affects people, how it affects their lives, the children, and those things have lasting effects. And if we can provide any sort of hope that if you do the work, and in my opinion, it's most individual work, like you work on yourself. And
Yep.
they will
Yep.
attest to this. You work on yourself. You cannot fix another person. You work on yourself, hope that they work on themselves, and that's all you can do. And if it doesn't work out, you've worked on yourself, you're a better person, and you can move on either way. But the hope is that everybody does find a way to heal, and then you can have something like this, hopefully. So, go
Can I
ahead.
say one quick thing?
Yeah.
I just want to say that I know that it is a great privilege that we have ended up where we are.
Yeah.
This is not always possible, even when it's wanted. I'm taking my earrings. It is a great privilege.
Yes.
To me, and I think and hope that it also is to you, that the two of you have shown up and been willing to be both vulnerable and to have the appropriate boundaries. And I think that's the reason that it works. So I don't ever want anybody to feel less than or negative because this didn't happen for them. I think
Right.
we were incredibly fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura, do you have any last words before we go?
Um, just that, I mean, I agree. It's more about you working to be your very best self. And something that rings in my mind all the time, Daniel said it very early on in our relationship to me. Um, he was experiencing some unkindness, and he was still being his sweet, kind self. And I was like, what, aren't you mad? Like, why are you being so generous and so nice? And, that person, didn't deserve it at the time. And he said, my behavior, my kindness is a reflection on me and who I am. And I'm not going to change that. And it's something that really stuck with me in acknowledgement of that is the only person that I am wholly responsible for is myself and my actions. And I try really hard to remember that. And there's so much power in not letting other people get to you and you staying true to who you are. I just had such mad respect for that stance. He lives it every day, and I try to do my best to model after that. So yeah, I would just encourage you guys if you're dealing with people, whether it's an ex or um, any other form in your life,
Trolls on the internet.
trolls or whomever. Just remember, like your reaction is the one thing you control, and it's more reflection of who you are to not behave, meet their behavior in that way. So, well, I'm glad you
Yep.
guys, both of you, have taught me that.
They've that is something they've heard from me repeated as that's one of my fatherly things I say here on a regular basis. Don't let somebody not bring you down to their level, but turn you into somebody you don't want to be.
Yep.
So, it is getting late. Thank you all very much again to the two of you and you, Noodle, I guess. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. But we are going to. It is that time of night where
You
we
see
we
me
need to
starting
go to
on
bed.
more.
Yes, Laura's past her bedtime.
Yeah.
This is past her bedtime.
Me too.
Sorrel's good to see you. Everybody who's subscribed, thank you so much. Every little bit helps with equipment, with whatever we can. It helped some with our meetup this last Saturday and Sunday, so thank you all for that, for all the the love and support that you give here every day and continue to give on other people's lives as well. So I appreciate that and hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Get some rest. And as I usually say, for me, all I know is that we have this little bit of time together. We don't know what's on the other side yet. And so I'm going to cherish every minute that I have, every moment that I have. And thank y'all for sharing these little moments with us. So y'all have a wonderful night. And Lulu, you take care.
Thanks for having me on, Dee.
Thanks so much. This was
I
great.
love you guys.
Great. I love it. I love
Good
seeing
night.
you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay.
I'll help y'all. And, all right, ladies and gents, checking out for the night. Get some rest, everybody.